Thanks to listening. Monsters at the movies.
He's got one foot in the frying pan and one in the pressure cooker. Believe me, as a bowler, I know that right about now, your bladder feels like an overstuffed vacuum cleaner bag, and your butt is kind of like an about-to-explode bratwurst.
Hey, do you mind? I wasn't talking when you were bowling.
Was I talking out loud?
Welcome to Munsons at the Movies. My name is Kyle. I will once again be your host, joined by the rest of the Munsons. Want to give them a wide berth.
What is called a born loser? A real Munson.
And talk a little bit about what's going on in their worlds. This time we'll start with James.
Podcast is going to drop on my 6-year anniversary with my wife.
Ooh, congratulations.
I know we had an issue with that recently with our podcast being during an anniversary of one of our members.
You guys stop bringing it up.
I hope we didn't shake the foundation of the McKay house. But dude, it's crazy to think that like this podcast has been a recording of the majority of my relationship with my wife, which I find pretty fascinating to think about. We started this in 2020, right?
February of 2020. We just hit our six-year mark.
There you go. So it's interesting to like look back and think like this is when I wasn't sharing on the podcast that my wife was pregnant and miserable. And then now my daughter's almost 4. It's just a wild world.
And she's the star of the show, some would argue.
Oh, it kills me, man. Every time I hear it, it kills me.
The show only gets worse after she goes.
Yeah, she struggles with the S's, but I think it's so adorable that I just won't critique it. It's the best.
No, it's her style.
I can't wait for next week when James references his kid and he's like, yeah, little Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. At a certain point, it might be insensitive to make that joke.
Little Amy Ryan just hanging out back there, struggling with the S's. Case.
Every day I get further along my journey that I think the world was robbed of a brilliant actor in Elvis Presley. If he weren't the gigantic, most famous person in the world, musician of his era, I think he would have ended up in movies, and I think he would have been in good movies, and I think he'd have been a great actor, but we'll never know. Time and circumstance prevented us from arguably one of the greatest actors of all time in Elvis Presley.
Wait, are we saying Elvis don't have great movies? We're not. He's got classics.
They are classics. The quality of said films was criticized even by Elvis.
Elvis was wrong.
I think if he would have gotten a chance with some higher level directors, I think he would have been an unbelievable actor.
You're saying Scorsese would have got him the right picture?
Sure.
Aubrey, what about you, man?
My update is sad. I've fallen into a really odd YouTube rabbit hole.
Ooh.
Oh, I love that.
I swear it came from a good place.
Okay.
It started with a person who critiques major film critics, quotation fingers.
Wait, he critiques the critiquers?
Because they're like grifters.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to call them out because Kyle will cut them. But it might help. A little controversy.
Yeah, that's true.
So he kind of critiques that. And I just like hearing someone push back on it because I find it interesting. Well, that led me to every time I wasn't watching a Chiwetel Ejiofor movie today, I was watching the same guy debunk flat earth theories. And I can't stop. I don't really care about this debate. I just really like this guy doing this. And I just can't stop watching it. I'm supposed to be a role model for young kids and teach them that like YouTube rabbit holes and these things are unproductive. You should be reading and doing things productive with their time. But I'm not reading. I've literally watched hours of this guy today do this. And it's amazing. And I can't stop. And it's what I'm probably going to do when we end this today. And hopefully I'll be done soon. That's the update. And I'm embarrassed.
Proud of you for speaking your truth.
Way worse things get hooked on YouTube, by the way. So I think you're okay. I want to thank you all for rescheduling tonight so I could participate in watching the Michigan Wolverines win the national title. I do want this to be a lesson, though, for everybody, that if your team wins the national title, the trend that seems to be setting is that the president will then threaten the end of civilization within 24 hours of your team winning the national title. So I would say tread lightly, because a whole country might be gone by the time you've come off the high of your victory. And so it's really a warning for everybody. Just be safe and smart out there.
I fully expect the world to end if the Jets ever won the Super Bowl. That's the trade-off.
That's the sign right there.
James, all the strings are being pulled to keep you in purgatory. That's a lot that has to happen to get to that. So
For sure.
Take the world. Just give us the Super Bowl.
But we're excited to welcome back Josh Outing as our featured guest Munson. He's a Florida native born and raised in Orlando. He is a son, a brother, and a friend. By trade, he tells stories and creates things. He has a decade of experience in filmmaking and writing, ranging from narrative and documentary work to commercial and marketing. When he is not working, he is playing basketball, going to the movies, hanging out at Disney, laying out at the beach, or traveling with friends. He loves people and has the naive belief that art can change the world. He was previously with us for the Andre Holland episode, where he started by telling us we were all idiots for not giving Daniel Day-Lewis a 100. And I think he's probably still correct there. Welcome back to the pod, Josh.
Welcome back, buddy.
I do, in fact, still stand on you all being wrong about Daniel Day-Lewis. And that's okay.
Didn't I give him 100?
To say not all of them.
Two of you gave him hundreds. Yeah, three of us.
That is true.
It was mostly me. Yeah.
This is true.
Oh, James gave a 92. What a bum-ass score.
I love James just dying on the hill of no, I won't let this go with Daniel.
I just can't do it. I can't do it. If I invite my brother to Thanksgiving and he doesn't respond because he's pretending he's still Abraham Lincoln, that's weird. We're not friends. It's just not going to happen.
What have you been working on since the last time we brought you on? What's going on exciting in your world?
It's been a busy season. Since the last time we spoke, there was several projects, several films that I was like in development or in post-production or whatever the case may be. And now a lot of them are being finished.
It's awesome.
And so I've been preparing for like festivals and distribution and impact campaigns. And right now there's a short documentary that took 3 years to make that we're finally releasing to the world. We're actually premiering it April 11th at the Florida Film Festival.
Nice.
So we're super excited about that. Eligible for the Grand Jury Award and the Audience Award. And
It's awesome.
but I'm just excited to be finally sharing that film. So
I feel like when you're trying to work the festival circuit too, it's just there's so much coordination behind the scenes of licensing and, you know, what is it going to cost to do that? It's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't see.
yeah, it's been a great learning experience, but also a lot of fun. I think it's a really good movie. So when you have something that you're excited about, it's easier to kind of trudge through the mud.
It's awesome, dude.
Is trudging through the mud, as you call it, in your big time high lofted circles, is that multiple news interview appearances? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Part of it, yeah.
It's exciting to see the work you're doing. I mean, Aubrey talks quite a bit about the projects you're working on. It's one of those we're always celebrating from afar. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Do it.
All right, birthdays. April 16th. We've got 3 goodies here. First one. Like I said, Aubrey's about to have himself a field day. First up, we have Anya Taylor-Joy, known for things like The Witch, The Menu, Mad Max, Furiosa in particular, The Northman, Split, Dune Part 2, Thoroughbreds, Queen's Gambit, Super Mario Bros. Movies, Emma, Last Night in Soho, and the ever-famous The New Mutants. How old is Anya Taylor-Joy?
She's good in that.
She
The
is.
movie's bad, but she's really
dog
good in
shit.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I also need to do this because my wife is listening right now, and she is saying this, and she'll be mad if I don't say it. It's Anya.
Okay, Anya Taylor-Joy.
I mean, this is going to be an episode of mispronounced names. So
I just learned something new.
How old is Anya?
I'll go first because since accusations are being lobbed out here that I don't take this serious, which I'm offended by, I take this very serious. I don't understand what's going on. This is legitimately one of my 5 or 10 favorite actors. I absolutely love what this person can do on screen. I've been following her for quite some time. She's a terrific actor, and I can't wait for that episode to actually happen. And since I've been getting heckled all day, I will take this serious.
Oh.
Anya Taylor-Joy is legitimately 22 years old. She just turned 22, and I'm really excited for her on that one.
It's incredible. She must have been real young during The Witch.
I mean, she was.
And here I was completely ready to side with you at 24. So I'll stick with my 24 because that's your normal go-tos.
She was so young when she first hopped on the scene, so it's hard to tell. 30?
Yeah, I feel like she's older than what y'all are saying. I'll say 29.
Two collections of close ones. All right, so Anya Taylor-Joy is 22, but Anya is 30. So,
Oh,
James,
nice. Look at
nailed it.
me.
Wow.
Dude, I've been nailing these recently.
I mean, that was a great list of movies, and she's 30 years old. So, other than the New Mutants, that movie is an abomination. But I get it. It was already made, and they were shifting gears, but they're like, fuck it, we're releasing it because we got to make some money back. I get it. All right, next up, we have Claire Foy, known for things like The First Man, Women Talking, Unsane, The Lady in the Van, The Girl in the Spider's Web, All of Us Strangers, The Crown, Wolf Hall, Little Dorrit, and Upstairs, Downstairs. How old is Claire Foy?
Literally who I picture when the queen is referenced. She's the queen to me. That's my queen.
Great in The Crown.
In all of the different ways you would interpret me saying that.
Oh, okay.
So how old is the queen?
25. She's done great work over the course of her career.
Her boy's got to be in her 40s. I'm going to say 44.
35.
James has been on a heater lately. I'm going to double up with James. I got to get on the board here.
Well, that was a wise choice because Claire Foy is turning 42. So James and Case collective on that one because we do Price is Right rules.
Nice.
Ooh.
For the record, Josh, this is why I go under. Because that feeling of taking the over, I don't like it. I want to be over on Claire Foy's age. Claire Foy, you look amazing. Don't listen to what Josh is saying.
44 is young.
40s and new 30s, right?
Yeah, she looks great.
Well, here, Josh, you get one more chance. See what you can do with the over-under game here. Last one, Ellen Barkin. Known for things like The Fan, Ocean's 13, Drop Dead Gorgeous, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Shout out to Case. The Big Easy, Very Good Girls, Sea of Love, Diner, and Wild Bill. How old is Ellen Barkin?
She's been at it forever.
I feel like Ocean's 13 is the only movie I've seen of hers.
For real.
There are only 2 GIFs of her in Discord, so I had limited options. Versus Anya had a lot.
So when I think about her face,
When I think about her face, I go 27.
She's a hot old lady. I'll say it. 72.
ooh,
He's not wrong.
I'm going to join James. I'm going to say 72.
Double down.
James is the hot hand.
Give me 55.
55. The more we played this game, the more I think if you double down with James, you're okay. She's turning 72, so I give it to Josh and James on that one.
Damn.
Get out of here.
That's crazy.
James is very good at this game.
Yeah, he is.
Happy birthday to them and anybody else with a birthday on April 16th. All right, we're at episode 134. Again, been at this thing for 6 years. We have 5 actors we threw onto the wheel. They were Eric Avari, Neil McDonough, Diane Ladd, and Graham Beckel. But it doesn't matter because the wheel selected Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Josh decided to come hang out with us and talk a little. So Chiwetel's got 68 acting credits, 4 directing, 4 writing, 6 soundtrack, and 1 producing. Chiwetel's done quite a bit in the world of entertainment. We're here to talk about it. The highs, the lows, things we love, things we didn't like so much, and everything in between, including some off-the-screen life stuff. But before we get into all that, we always start with actor trivia to see if James can stump us Fast and Furious style.
Josh, you're part of the initiated here, so you know the rules. But for anyone listening at home who might be a new listener, I'm going to read off 3 facts here, 2 of which are going to be true about the man of the hour, Chiwetel Ejiofor. You hear that, Case? And 1 of which is not going to be true about him, but will be true about one of the many illustrious cast members of the Fast and Furious franchise. Gentlemen here are going to have to guess which one that is. Fact number 1. As a young actor, he was asked to change his name due to fear of being typecasted, but he refused to, noting he was proud of his heritage, and it translates to God has done well.
All right.
Fact number 2, he was famously involved in a motorcycle accident with his family, which led to him getting into a fight with the other man involved in the accident, resulting in facial scarring and criminal charges. They were eventually dropped due to the police determining it was self-defense. Fact number 3, once broke character during the climax of a stage performance when he accidentally hit another cast member in the balls during his character's death scene. Couldn't stop himself from laughing while lying on the stage. The moment obviously quickly spread to the audience, who began laughing as well. Despite that mishap, his performance in the production went on to earn him the most prestigious acting award in theater.
Well, I mean, we can automatically take number 1 out. I mean, Vin Diesel does not have anything to do with a higher power, so Number one's going to be tough for any sort of Fast and Furious character.
And his name's Paul. So I figured, at the end of the day, he did change his name.
I think the lie is going to be number 3. I think that was the ever classy Helen Mirren was the one that was striking other actors in the genitals, causing everybody to laugh.
That is a really good guess for sure.
She'd get away with it.
I would let her do that to me.
She's the only person that I would believe did that, laughed, and then also won the award.
Yes.
I feel like 1 might be the lie, because that could be like one of James's sneaky, like, hold on to Charlize facts.
Oh.
Where he just pulls out these random Charlize things that no one knows about that he just has plastered somewhere in his house.
Her life is incredibly fascinating.
I didn't even think about her.
I have to go with number 2, and I have to return to the well. And this time I feel like it makes sense. I'm going Tyrese.
We do have a little Tyrese crossover later. I got to enjoy watching him act again.
The brothers. That's right.
Yeah, Aubrey stole mine. I think it's number 2, and Tyrese just because he does have a scar on his face. So I don't know, it just fits the bill.
You know what? Somebody we've never guessed before that might have come from the stage, and I've just been sneaky about it, is Brandon T. Jackson. He played a BMW driver in one of the Fast and Furious movies. Which one? Couldn't tell you. It just says that on Google.
Kyle, you mentioning that, his IMDb rating is going to go up like tenfold, still be in the millions.
Josh, I don't know if you heard about the Munson's bump on IMDb. we did Irfan Khan. Could happen to anybody.
I believe it.
Of course, we should do it to somebody who's still around and could benefit from said bump. But, that's neither here nor there.
No, it's going to happen for the Chiwetel Ejiofor pronunciation YouTube video.
Exactly. There you go.
Well,
narrated by Craig Case.
As no one picked number 1, it has to do with his name, and it is true. His first name, Chiwetel, comes from the Igbo language and translates to God has done well. It's a reflection of his Nigerian heritage and his family roots. He was advised many times over that he should change his stage name. The way he tells the story is very fascinating in that, like, they couldn't really sell him on the negatives because he was young when he got into acting, and they're like, you're going to be pigeonholed into playing African parts. And he was like, I want to play African parts. Like, I don't understand, I don't get any of this at all. And he now makes jokes about it. He's like, I'm at peace with people mispronouncing my name. He's like, it's happened so many times at this point, it's second nature. He's like, but now the perception of that is a little different. He's like, a lot has changed since I first started. Fact number 3, once broke character during climax of his stage performance when he accidentally hit another cast member in the balls during a death scene. That's true. Reprised his role in Othello, playing the title character there 3 times in his career. But it was in 2007 when he was playing alongside Ewan McGregor that he mentioned he broke character during Othello's suicide scene, which is at the end of the performance. And he's like, I dropped the knife and the dagger kind of hit a cobblestone and hit Ewan McGregor right in the balls. And he heard someone in the front row just say, ooh, ouch. He's like, and it cracked me up so much. He's like, I had to roll away so they couldn't see my face. He's like, but I was like vibrating, shaking, laughing when I'm supposed to be dead. It's like, and everyone saw that. He's like, and so you slowly heard laughter come throughout the crowd. Obviously, it didn't matter because he got the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor, which is like the highest British theater honor you could get for his performance. But it was funny for him to tell that story. I think they call the term corpsing. You essentially ruin the entire performance because you're like, I just couldn't keep my shit together. And he's like, that was that moment. Right when I died, hit him right in the balls. And fact number 2, so when he was 11, he was actually involved in a very serious car crash, which his father died from, and he survived it. And that's where he actually gets those visible scars on his forehead that you see in all of his roles. And so he's a little boy when that happened. And looking back, he said that his father's death kind of spurred his ambition. He's like, I wanted to do it all after that because I kind of became aware of the finite nature of life. And so that is when he started to kind of chase his dreams. However, that wasn't a motorcycle accident that led to criminal charges. That actually happened like 2 weeks ago, and that was Alan Ritchson, who played the double agent Ames in the 10th installment of the Fast and Furious franchise, Fast X.
Beat the shit out of that dude.
Yeah, that's correct, Kyle. He beat the ass of his neighbor on tape for causing him and his teenage sons to get into an accident. His neighbor dropped the charges once the video came out, and it was obvious that he instigated the ass beating by that behemoth of a man. I loved every moment of that story, so I had to incorporate it somehow.
Fresh, hot off the press.
When you hear the audio, too, he's like, what are you doing? Are you drunk right now? The neighbor is just like, keeps going nonstop. He's like, get away from me. He tries to drive away again, and the guy jumps in front of him. And then Richardson just holds his head down and beats him in front of everybody. He's like, you fool.
That's Thad Castle. You don't fuck with Thad Castle. That's one of the premier linebackers in college football history. You don't fuck with him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never seen Blue Mountain State?
No.
Case, why don't you tell us a little bit about Box Office Snapshot?
I have a disabling amount of data now. It's just paralysis through analysis. It's been kind of fun, but at the same time, I'm like, well, where do I start? And so the thing I will say is that he's done a lot more projects than I would have guessed. A really wide range of projects. I'm very excited about upcoming projects he has because it's going to check a box that I didn't see him have a lot in his career. We'll talk about that later. So what I'll do is I'll just get into the numbers that we've compared everybody against. The numbers that we tend to talk a lot about are average budget, and he ranks 17th out of 134 in average budget, which I was surprised at. But with a $68 million average budget, puts it up there for him. He's 13th in overall gross at $7.9 billion. The two different box office metrics I always talk about are return on investments, both average and individual films. That's where he starts to get hit a little bit. So he's in a lot of high budget films that don't particularly do well in the box office. With all those things added in, he comes in ranked at 77th. And we actually have a new score that we can start looking at people with, and that's called the Film Super Score. And what I did is I averaged Rotten Tomato Critic, Rotten Tomato Fan, IMDb, TMDb, and Metacritic scores from all their films. And he's at a 63 across all his films, which ranks him 42nd in that category. His Film Super Score is a lot higher than his overall rank, but I do think it's a good place to start from. And the last thing I'll share, and it just kind of goes back into the concept of him being in a lot of high-budget films that didn't make money, 11 different movies that had decent budgets that didn't make money. And that's not necessarily a high number, but again, when his average budget is so high, that gets him a little bit compared to some other actors that have done better in those two categories. But this is one of the actors that, as I was going through the process of putting together my notes, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him in that. Oh yeah, I remember him in that. For me, at least, he's had a really good presence in a lot of different movies that I don't necessarily associate with him. But now that I've been able to watch and pay attention to those projects for him, it was a pleasure to rewatch some of those movies.
This is so dope. Mainly because all of the stuff I thought would weigh down his like budget stuff, high budget movies that didn't make a lot of money on return, they all made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now I can't say like, oh, it's probably Maleficent. That's what weighed him down because Maleficent made almost $500 million.
Yeah, very well.
2012 made almost $800 million worldwide.
Yep.
That's insane. The movie is an abomination.
The one thing I did like about his filmography is his top return on investment is 12 Years a Slave. I mean, that was a success in every front. Critic, box office. If you look at the film leaderboards, return on investment leaders is like Joe, American Graffiti, Halloween. It's films that were just kind of like caught everybody off guard. All of those are just very niche stories, whereas 12 Years a Slave is like a legitimate, powerful story. And for that to have a great return on investment, it's a long time past. I always like to see movies that are well made, do well in all categories.
Especially with 12 Years a Slave, that's not like a movie you're like, I'm going to go see it 3 times in theaters.
Yeah.
Halloween, you're like, holy shit.
Rewatch.
That was so scary. Let's get popcorn and go see it again. So for 12 Years a Slave to have that much of a return on investment is really impressive because it is a hard watch. You're getting punched in the stomach the whole time.
So Chiwetel Ejiofor ranked 77.
Yes.
That's probably a little higher than I thought he would be. But I would imagine he'd be right around the middle. Because I feel like that's kind of how it's panned out. Like people know him in the same way that like Josh said, he was writing down all the movies he's seen and it was more than he thought.
Yeah.
In case was like, oh yeah, I saw him in this. I saw him in this. He's one of those. You recognize him, you know, more than you know him.
Oh, for sure.
So his fame is one of those of where like people know him, but they don't know that they know him. He's got indie movies that hit. He's done animated stuff. He's been in really high profile stuff. It's kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, other people in the 70s are like Michael Caine, Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So like they're very successful in their own unique ways, and they're lower because of X, Y, and Z, right? It's just a data indicator at the end of the day. All right, cool case. Appreciate you. Thanks, James. All right, let's get into things. First major role we're going to say is 1997. So he's born in the East End of London to middle-class Nigerian parents in 1977. His parents were a doctor and a pharmacist. His sister is or was CNN correspondent. I don't know if she still is.
Is.
Successful family, done overcome the odds and done some really awesome stuff. James mentioned he was in that car crash at 11 years old. His father passed in 1988. A major incident like that happens and your father passes at a young age. It's going to mold you. It's going to shape you into the person you are.
The area of London that they are from. So when I studied abroad, we stayed in London, but I worked for a company that was in Dulwich, which is where he's from. And it's like the hipster kind of like beatnik artsy area, which means at one point it wasn't a good area. And then people were like, hey, this is actually really affordable and kind of nice. And so you had people moving in and it grew. And so now it's like, you know, it's been gentrified completely. But it is a very cool area. And for him to grow up in that spot, you could see how he could get into the arts, because that is kind of the vibe you get when you're there. It's like Greenwich was in the 60s and the East Village of New York City, where it was affordable. So a lot of artists lived there. And you could see a lot of immigrants live there as well.
You know, after really challenging shit that happens to you in your youth, as he grew up, he started acting in school plays. That's where he got into the dramatic arts, senior school, National Youth Theater, and that's where he got his start in the stage. As a performer in film and television, and primarily film, but he started in the stage, which I always love. Like we talked about last episode with Crystal and Amy Ryan. That's where you really refine your craft.
It shows in his career the way that he performs, especially in my movie, and then even in like more subtle roles. It's just, Aubrey always talks about it. He conveys a lot with very little. I'm convinced it's very difficult to get that unless you come through the theater.
My man can emote with the best of them, for sure. First credit, 1996, he was in an episode of Scream 2. And during that time, he also did a year at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, where he got some of that higher level training. And that took him to his first major role, a movie we have not talked about since the Jaimin Hansu episode, which I think was like episode 17. Something like that. He's also the only actor in 134 episodes that's appeared in the Fast and Furious franchise. That fact continues to blow my mind 134 episodes later. The wheel doesn't want to take away anyone from James's collection other than Jaimin. Amistad, he plays Ensign Covey, 1997, and James has it.
It's pretty good for your first role out of the gate, so much so that you drop out of college to be in Steven Spielberg's Amistad when you're 19 years old. Reflecting on it, he's pretty funny. He's like a lot of young people, you kind of just think that's like normal. He's like, yeah, of course, I'm the shit. Like, obviously I'm going to be in Steven Spielberg's movie. Like, this is how acting works. It's like, it wasn't until later I realized it was kind of a miracle. Amistad stars Jaimin Hansu, Matthew McConaughey, Anthony Hopkins, Morgan Freeman. And he looks back on it and he's like, I was actually so young and naive that I remember giving directing tips to Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he's like, hey, I think this scene should go this way. He's like, looking back, he never gave me shit. He was very patient. He wasn't like, just shut up. It's like, it's funny to think like how overconfident you are when you're a 19-year-old man and you're with one of the like greatest directors of all time. It's based on a true story. A group of Africans who were kidnapped and sold into slavery. They revolted when they were on board a Spanish ship by the name of Amistad, which I found out in my history deep dive here translates to friendship. What a name for a slave boat. They take control of the ship and they don't know where they are, as you'd expect. And so they are just kind of sailing where they're told to sail by the last remaining survivors of the ship. And they end up going to Long Island, where they are captured. And what follows is a legal battle over whether these men are property or human beings with rights, which is largely considered one of the first legal decisions made by the Supreme Court that eventually led to the Civil War about 20 years later. This movie received 4 Academy Award nominations, didn't win any. Nominations include Best Supporting Actor for Anthony Hopkins, Original Score for John Williams, and then Cinematography and Costume Design. The film really centers on Jaimin Hansu as the leader of the revolt. And what I found fascinating, other than the opening scene is absolutely brutal to watch, other than that, it really like dives right into being procedural courtroom drama. One of the major points of the movie is that him and all the men he's with don't speak English, and they don't give you subtitles at first. And so it becomes like not only like a huge barrier in the courtroom, but also like an interesting way to tell the story, kind of from both perspectives. So like as the audience, you experience the confusion of both sides, you know, kind of the frustration almost firsthand. There's a funny scene where the men who are on the ship are speaking with Matthew McConaughey and Morgan Freeman, who are lawyers and abolitionists, who are going to like try to support them, but they don't understand what McConaughey and Freeman are saying. And so they look at each other and they're like, well, obviously they just sent us a bunch of idiots to try to help us. Like, these men are stupid. This is where Ejiofor's character comes into play. James Covey, who was a slave who was freed and joined the Navy and eventually went on to Yale and served as a translator for this case. And that is where you start to learn of who these men are and how they got there and kind of the horrors that happened here. There's like a retelling scene that feels kind of gratuitous of, hey, how come you started off with 50 more people than you had? It shocks you with how hard it is to watch it. But what makes this movie kind of stand out is there's 2 worlds that it's balancing. It's the brutality and reality of slavery, and then almost the kind of procedural nature of the American legal system. Like on one hand, you see these horrific conditions, and on the other, you watch lawyers and politicians and even like former presidents kind of debate the legality and the technicalities. Like, something so deeply human gets reduced to arguments and precedents that have been set. And with how little people want to actually like realize how awful things are today, I'm kind of fine with us putting a shine on a story, and so at least it gets told rather than just ignoring the story altogether. But I will say, in his performance, I think he does well. And he portrays this young man who can understand where these men are coming from and translate for them. The emotional center of this is Jaimin Hansu, who is given like every opportunity to bring the audience to its knees with how sad his story is. After watching this and then watching a movie that we are going to cover later, somehow this movie felt incredibly lighthearted compared to other movies about similar topics that we'll go over.
There's something to be said for an actor's ability to be notable in these roles, because these are incredibly powerful themes. It would be easy for an actor to either fade into the story and not have their performance stand out, or to overact and have it be distracting from the topic or the theme. And he does a really good job in both of these movies that we're referencing of portraying a character that enriches the story and adds to it rather than compete with it.
This is a great point. And one of my major underlying themes of Chiwetel Ejiofor as an actor, he has presence.
Yes.
And so when he shows up in this movie, even amongst like McConaughey is a big star, like Chiwetel Ejiofor still is able to stake kind of his claim. And I think this is one reason why we all recognize him so easily.
Yeah.
Is rarely in his movies is he just there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like, hey, you're the second detective, or hey, you're the interpreter. I could easily go to an actor who would do a perfectly suitable job, but never draw any attention to themselves. He always is able to command some attention. And that's what this movie was in terms of his performance for me. Because I can see him early, and I can just see him able to kind of carve out a little space to where like I always knew he was there.
Yep.
And he had some powerful scenes. When he was doing something, it was interesting and it was meaningful. I was a little surprised at how much of a courtroom drama it was, but I loved that because I love courtroom dramas. So I'm here for all of the courtroom drama elements. Like, to me, like over monologues, like, okay, that's a feature, not a bug. Like, yeah, I'm here for that.
You're like 7-minute monologue, one take from Anthony Hopkins coming. Yeah, count me in.
That was my man flexing on everybody to me. what a courtroom drama is able to do, especially when it tackles like really sensitive subject area, is it's able to vocalize arguments around a theme in a very clever way, and it allows characters to develop and grow around those things. And I think this movie does that.
This was my first time seeing this movie of the 10 or maybe 15 movies of Spielberg that I haven't seen yet.
Ooh.
I was excited to check it out. And I mean, what a stat cast, incredible ensemble, everybody operating at a high level. And something that I don't think is talked about enough in regards to Chiwetel's performance is because we don't get the translation, he has to fill in a lot of gaps. There are moments where Diamond is like taking control of the scene, but Chiwetel is right there, and he's not just translating, but he's emoting. I found those scenes to be really powerful. It's like, all right, Jamin's doing his thing, but also Chiwetel is emoting the same way. So when he stands up and he's getting emotional and he's yelling, Chiwetel is doing the same thing. It's like, man, this is a 17, 18-year-old kid doing this.
Seriously.
Manning this level of presence with an ensemble like this. It was really remarkable. I was not expecting him to be such a pivotal role. This film, it's a long film. I already thought Chiwetel was a fantastic actor, and this journey has shown me I think he's a far more superior actor than I've ever thought. And to do this at this age is just so impressive. So blown away by what he pulled off in this film.
And he was giving Spielberg directing notes, so he was really working twice as hard as everybody else.
To your point, this was not originally first major role. Like when I was doing the research, I was like, his role must be really small. And then I watched and I was like, nah, he got plenty of screen time. This qualifies.
Yeah, for sure. When Pete Postwaite is playing one of the lawyers and he's like clearly trying to like rage bait Jaimin Hansu when he's on the stand, and you could see Chiwetel's reaction where he's like, he's the one getting upset because he's doing the translation. He's like,
yes,
is this guy really trying to like do? And I thought it was cool because that's how I would react. And I'd be like, oh, right. I forgot the other side is loves slavery. So of course they're going to say some bullshit like this.
You're the person privy to both experiences. And that's
I'm glad you called that out, James, because that is probably it's like the D plot in the movie, but he does have like his own little arc. He also was removed from his home, and there's kind of like a returning that he's having in his experience. Yeah, great call.
Great start for him coming out with Amistad. Technically, this is his first movie on IMDb, but if you go to Rotten Tomatoes and you look at Case's spreadsheet, there's a movie that came out in 96 called Deadly Voyage. Can't really find it anywhere. Omar Epps is in this movie with him, and the plot is hoping to find a better life. Dock worker Kingsley Ofasa and 8 other Ghanaian refugees stow away on a Ukrainian cargo ship headed for the United States via France. So to the original point of playing in really heavy like historical dramas, comes out the gate with a couple pretty heavy ones. I was actually going to try to watch it today in the background, and unless somebody could find it on YouTube somewhere.
I'm trying to place in my mind a single other movie in Omar Epps' filmography
that would align.
That is anywhere near this.
Deadly Voyage.
That's crazy. Omar Epps' people was like, nah, son, get that out of here.
I mean, it's not on his IMDb, so there's some burying happened somewhere. 2002, Dirty Pretty Things, plays Akwe. This was originally a first major role, not a lighthearted film by any stretch of the imagination again, where he plays a doctor who's trying to hide his former life and working basically as like a hotel busboy, and then gets trapped into his boss's scheme to sell kidneys as a way to blackmail people for their citizenship. Did anybody else watch Dirty Pretty Things?
Unfortunately, I did not. And this was high on my list to get to, and I just didn't do it.
Directed by Stephen Frears, it features Chiwetel in a lead role. So just to kind of call that out, lead role this early in his career, alongside the same actress who played Amelie, Audrey Tautou, which is a stark contrast if you've seen Amelie. The role she plays in this movie is essentially a sex worker. That is the exact opposite of role choice to Amelie. It's a good film, very highly rated, definitely a deep cut. Would have made for a great first major role because he does play a lead role. Good to check out, especially early Chiwetel film. He didn't do a ton of TV in his career, but his first recurring character in television was Trust. He played Ashley in 2003, 6 episodes of that show. And then he played the role of Peter in Love Actually in 2003 alongside Emma Thompson. I did not rewatch Love Actually.
Me either.
I didn't realize this was a hot take.
Ooh.
But now I know it is because of how much everyone talks about Love Actually. I hate this movie, man. I think everyone's messing with me when they say how much they like it.
You feel like you're in an episode of Jury Duty?
Yeah, like everyone's like in a group chat without me. It's like, let's just fuck with James and pretend we like this movie.
Is he Keira Knightley's fiance? What's his story? Yeah.
Yes. His is the most egregious in my mind because his best friend is stalking and trying to actively bang his wife. And it's the most famous scene from the movie, at least in pop culture, where Andrew Lincoln is standing with the signs outside the front door. If that happened in real life, the police would be called. I'd be wrestling my best friend in the yard like white trash.
I'd be Bobby Cannavale and Win-Win, just rooting for you to wrestle your friend in the front yard. That's what I would be. I'm just a ref. I'm just a ref.
It would be justified. He talks about this funny. He's like, yeah, I think, what is it, like Michael and Peter? He's like, I think Michael was a really shitty friend to Peter. I was like, I think everyone's shitty to each other in these movies. They're so mean.
Big movie, though.
I've never seen this movie. Is this a list of shame situation?
Yeah, you should probably watch it.
It's passed off like a Christmas movie that like, oh, you just have to watch it. And then people talk about like, oh, I love Love Actually. Oh, it's so cute. And then you actually watch it and you're like, all these love stories are awful. They're all cheating on each other. They're all breaking each other's hearts.
I think you should watch it just because it popularized that genre of 7 different storylines like Valentine's Day and shit like that coming out. So like from just a cinema history.
For sure.
I know it didn't create the genre, but it certainly made it popular. And as much as I know you love Keira Knightley and the McKay household, I feel like this is a watch just for that purpose.
I think my wife has seen it. I meant to watch it, and then it being 2 hours and 15 minutes made it tough.
No.
Because I had other 2-hour movies to watch.
His first time working with Spike Lee in She Hate Me, 2004, alongside Anthony Mackie, John Turturro, Woody Harrelson. So we covered this movie quite a bit over the years. I don't remember his role in the film, though. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I haven't seen this film.
I haven't either. Sorry, Spike.
One of the few Spikes I have not seen.
I don't remember liking it very much. It's an Anthony Mackie-led film. Not that that's a bad thing by any stretch of imagination, but of all the Spike Lee movies I have seen, it was one of my least favorite. I can't give it a glowing recommendation.
That intrigues me more than like Chiwetel Ejiofor being in it, is Anthony Mackie leading it this early in his career.
Yep.
'Cause I'm a big fan of Anthony Mackie. I think he can go. So him with Spike would be interesting.
For the fans of the listening to the podcast, go check out our Anthony Mackie episode. It's a good one. Mike Vandiver was our guest on that one. But he does work with Spike Lee later, so I think it's important to note there, first time working with Spike. So stacking up some pretty big directors very early in his career here in the early 2000s. I mean, you start with Spielberg, then it's all downhill from there. So, you know, you're like top of the mountain, baby, top of the mountain. So, all right. Let's talk about the brothers. The brothers, not the Super Mario Brothers, but the 4 brothers in Detroit, making Detroit look really, really good in the mid-2000s. What a sparkling endorsement for the city of Detroit is 4 brothers, and his role is Victor.
I really feel like I should go first here. This is a classic case of, I remember this movie. I watched this movie when I was younger, way before I probably should have watched it. And I had very fond memories of this movie. And then I watched it, and it's terrible. I think this movie is absolutely ludicrous.
We're not doing that.
We are doing this. This is insane. This is a movie that resolves its major conflict with a union dispute.
That's right.
Like a union uprising. That's nonsense.
Yeah, get on board.
It's in the middle of nowhere. It's nonsense. And then Mark Wahlberg just walks up out of the middle of nowhere. And then they have a Rocky 5 style fight to solve the conflict. It's nonsense.
Genius.
They're just walking into clubs, wherever, and just shooting up everything. You can't do that.
I'm hoping I'm on the same side as Josh here, but I think everything you said is correct, except this is a good movie.
There we go.
Bad movie.
Yeah, I think John Singleton gives you a cartoonish version of Detroit which I enjoy.
Yes.
It is freezing cold the whole time. It is ultra violent shootouts happening in broad daylight, and the location doesn't matter. We can be at a basketball game. We can be in my living room. We could be on the frozen lake. Doesn't matter. And a killer Motown soundtrack is playing the whole time.
Hell yeah. I counted at least 3 Temptations tracks in the first act of the film.
Dude, it's just tremendous.
I'll give you that.
Sometimes a movie can just be cool.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
If I was to also be generous, I think the movie's clearly pulling from like classic exploitation. Like you said, cartoonish. Like I think there's some intentionality behind like the tone, because John Singleton is very capable of making a grounded, gritty film.
Yeah,
there's a lot of choices in this film that even in 2026 it works. I enjoy it. This movie is a good time, and the ending is bizarre. But man, Chiwetel is wild.
I was about to say, one of the best parts of the movie, Chiwetel Ejiofor as the baddie.
Wild.
He doesn't do it often.
Deserves more screen time.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly.
he gets after it.
That scene where they're in the basement and the kids are there, and like he's got to stand his ground and show that he's menacing, but still be like a caring dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a pivotal scene for me of like, can you do bad guy while being sympathetic dad? That's the whole shtick. That's the operation they're running. I thought it was interesting.
It's laugh out loud funny and scary when you first meet him and one of his like henchmen is trying to eat that noodle like mid getting chewed out, and he just fucking he's like, are you hungry? So it laugh out loud funny for me.
Probably one of the greatest scenes in the past 25 years.
Cinema.
Eat, dog.
His like he's belittling him, and his girl is like, "Oh, just like knock that shit off." He's like, "Bitch, you get down there too." And he I was like, "Oh my god, I love this movie."
No, I think he's legitimately good.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I will give this movie. I think he is legitimately good. I do think it is a little bit of what happens when you give a theater actor a role like this. It's like, hey man, over the top drug dealer. He's like, got it.
Yeah.
he came back with his own interpretation, and they was just like, I mean, we got to do it now. We already out here. And I loved it. He played that to the rafters, and it really worked. Funny and interesting in a way. I wouldn't say it was like a drug dealer where like, ah, man, I want to kind of be like that guy. Like there's some drug dealers when I'm like, oh, I want to be that guy. I didn't really want to be him, but I got his position in this movie. And it was nice to see him do something like very different.
Like how you do business.
It needs to be said how well he can play a menacing character, considering like how kind he is just in real life, and the kindest eyes, and the way he's able to change his voice. It's kind of remarkable how believable he is when he's able to tap into some like really dark figures, no matter how cartoonish they might be.
Well, this guy's menacing.
Yeah,
100%.
Serenity plays the operative, 2005, Alan Tudyk. I didn't rewatch this. I wanted to. I was hoping to find some time for it. It's also not free, which is part of the problem. But the Serenity world is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And Chiwetel played a role, so that's cool.
That's not the one with McConaughey, is it?
No.
No, that's the bad one with Anne Hathaway. This is the good Serenity.
Okay.
Didn't this come from or lead to Firefly?
It did. People love Serenity. This is the good Serenity. Let's talk about one that might be a favorite in the McKay household, which is the movie Slow Burn, which is his lowest critic score. Plays a character named Trippin, 2005. Aubrey's got it.
I go into these with the best intentions, where I'm going to really write something out and do something really thoughtful. And then I watch it, and I go, no, I'm not. So this movie is from 2005. Shout out to Bayshore High School, keeping it alive in 05. That's when I graduated. Directed by Wayne Beach. The cast is weird. Ray Liotta, LL Cool J, Mekhi Phifer, my guy Guy Torrey, Taye Diggs, Chiwetel Ejiofor, like a handful of white people that some people might know that I didn't.
Bruce McGill.
I'm not going to tell you the plot to this movie, because the plot to this movie, there is no plot to this movie.
That is the plot.
What I'll say is it's supposed to be like a crime thriller with a lot of twists and turns. Mekhi Phifer is shot in the head. A cop is found with his blood on him, and she did it. She alleged she was raped, and the story takes off from there. It's told from multiple different perspectives.
Yeah.
In the way like The Last Duel is, except The Last Duel is good. So this one is different, in that I don't understand what's happening. Now, I will say this movie is not good at all, but it's not offensively bad to me.
No.
I think what it is simply a misfire. It tried to be a really twisty, interesting thriller, but in trying to be that way, it just decided to make everything a twist, which made it to where I can't trust what any character is saying, because when a character is telling you what's happening, which is there's a lot of exposition in this, the movie then goes back and shows where everything was wrong about what that character said and how it was inaccurate. And so the twists are kind of undercutting themselves and making it to where each surprise is no longer a surprise. One, because I'm waiting for them all, because I know they're all going to happen. And then two, because none of them mean anything. It's more unfortunate than it is anything else. Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this movie for a brief amount of time. He initially is an entertainment writer and following Ray Liotta to tell a story.
He plays a pivotal role at the end, though.
With spoilers, he's not actually that, because no one in this movie is actually anything that they say they are. But that twist didn't work. I didn't particularly like any individual performance, even though I thought Taye Diggs was having a lot of fun. This movie's just a mess. I don't think there's really anything redeemable to pull out of it.
I have an interesting fact here about this movie. At the time of its release, it was the second largest second weekend drop at the box office in film history, going from just under $700,000 in the first weekend to 91 in the second, and they pulled it after the second.
Ooh.
It's now dropped since then to the 14th largest second week drop in film history. But enough people saw it and were like, nope, not going to even tell a single soul to see that movie.
They told their friends, said, don't go watch that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Needs to be a faster burn. That's what I would say. Not to be too punny. I just remember texting the group just being like, I texted so much about good movies and I just went slow burn. Not a good movie. knowing Aubrey was going to have to watch this.
Yeah, I started this movie and I knew what time it was, and I quickly tapped out.
A DNF. That's what Munsons do.
But I've DNF'd a handful of lowest critic scores. I don't want to do that every time. I figured I could make it to the end of this one.
You know, I figured you had Mekhi Phifer, LL Cool J, Taye Diggs. I was like, at least Aubrey's going to enjoy those pieces or just be disappointed in them.
Nah, I don't blame my guys at all. It's not on them. That's on Wayne Beach. That's on him.
It's great.
You got to hold
too.
this one.
2005 to 2013, the major pieces in here. First off, Kinky Boots played Lola, 2005, Golden Globe nom, a movie that I think is a must-watch if you're going to do a deep dive on Chiwetel's career. Parts of the movie don't age well, don't get me wrong, but to see Chiwetel play a character like this and commit fully to this character, pretty impressive.
I agree. I'm not shocked it didn't age well, considering, the timing that it came out and what it's about. But I think he's great in this movie. I think it's a little cheesy at parts, but I don't know how you could tell this story without it either going incredibly dramatic, which kind of misses the point, or it being a little cheesy. I learned it's inspired by a true story, which is crazy. The Lola character is not a single real person, but the story in general is true, which is wild. And I didn't realize that this movie is what led to the Broadway show, which has won like a ton of awards. 6 Tony Awards. Here we go. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I give this a full-throated recommendation, not even just for Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think this movie it's a lot of fun. He is the reason it is as good as it is. I will be clear on that. He is the reason it is good as it is. And he makes a lot work in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's presence again. To do the thing he's doing, you really have to have a commanding presence. He has that. But it's not just a presence. It's a showmanship that he's given off in this. Characters like this, drag queen type characters, have a bit of a stigma around them that they should be way over the top. They should be like hugely played to the rafters. And he doesn't do that. It's a more grounded and kind of contained version of this person. And I found that to be first jarring, but then really compelling. Even when he was performing, it still felt small in a way that was unique to him. He is bringing his own likeness to it, where it's a very reserved version of this, where it still commands attention. It still draws you in, but it's not way over the top. And I found that to be a really interesting take on this type of character. And he's doing a comedy. And he is, the driving force of a lot of the humor in his own way.
Burgundy, baby.
But I loved it. I agree, Kyle. This is one of those performances where this is very important to understanding him and the full breadth of his abilities as an actor.
I was really impressed by, one, the story they're telling at the time they're telling it, and especially his character and Nick Frost and their kind of counterbalance during the storytelling.
I would be really interested to hear people from this community or that adjacent to this community share how they would feel about this and how it's aged.
True.
Because from my own ignorance, it's hard for me to say where it's at because it obviously doesn't age well because of how long ago it was made. It can't because of just the sophistication of what we've learned over the time period since then. But I do wonder how well it did just in general because I found it to be really affecting.
It looks like, generally speaking, it was praised for its positive intentions, its heartwarming, feel-good sense, but criticized for its dated terminology and conflating drag performance with trans identity.
I can see that.
I'm upset I didn't get around to this because this feels like if we were going to explore the versatility of an actor, this is a performance that stands out in the rest of his filmography. But I'm glad I have this context.
We got you.
Listening to you guys talk about the film. So
He killed it. I think you would enjoy it.
Yep.
Oh, I have no doubt. Yeah.
I also like the final sequence, the runway, when he shows up and performs.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good illustration of a director playing to the strengths of its actor and an actor really understanding the character that it's portraying, because even in that performance, he is performing and it is captivating. But all of the big movements and moments and things that would catch your eye are happening around him. And so he is the focal point still because he is performing and he is commanding in that way. But he is not drawing your attention by doing anything other than being present. And I think that is a brilliant way to play this because it's unique.
Great. Good movie. Recommend people go check it out. Inside Man, back with Spike Lee, plays Detective Mitchell, kind of Denzel's right-hand man in this. I assume this is the role you were referencing earlier, Aubrey. I mean, you're talking about like a second detective.
Yep.
Willem Dafoe is in this. Clever flick.
I like the bit that he has where they're given a piece of identifiable information about the burglars, and they're like, one of them was a woman and she had pretty large breasts. And so he's just narrowing down women with large breasts, and he just like gets caught staring at one. She's like, do you want me to like turn around and you can take a picture or something like this? He's like, oh, sorry. My bad, sorry.
You're one of two suspects who fit the description.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what description is that?
I adore this movie.
Same.
Yeah.
And I'm probably in the minority here, but I feel like this is Spike's last great film that I've seen from him, where I like walked away and I was blown away by it.
Oh, okay.
Everybody casted in this film, I think, is perfection. And Chiwetel is so different. I think it also says a lot about, again, his presence to be right there with Denzel Washington and it not feel that overshadowed, right? And obviously, while this is more of a cat and mouse between Denzel and Clive Owen's characters, I enjoy every scene they're in. This movie's just so smart. It's so good.
The plot turn is so well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily surprised by what happened, but you're impressed. At least I was.
Yeah.
I think this is a good Chiwetel one for presence part.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to sit next to Denzel while Denzel's going crazy. There's no expectation that he's going to match that. There's no need for him to match that. This is also evidence of him as a good actor and understanding how to play different positions in a movie.
Yeah.
Because if he's trying to match that energy, the movie is significantly worse. But he's able to still command presence while standing next to someone who's just going crazy. And I love that.
Yeah, and you have Jodie Foster crushing too. Like Jodie's confidence, Denzel's confidence, and Clive Owen's confidence, those three coming together, it's like they're all right. Everybody's got to figure it out, right? Like everyone's got to figure it out.
Yeah, you just got to make room for yourself. Like, and that's the thing that he does really well. A lot of actors they get praised for this. They're able to kind of blend in. Chiwetel don't do that. He not blending in. You gonna know that he's there. I don't even think it's intentional. I just think it's just how he carries himself.
So 05 to 07 is really Chiwetel's what we'll call Clive Owen and Denzel era, because he's in Children of Men in 2006 as Luke alongside Michael Caine, and Clive Owen, which I have to say I rented foolishly because Christine was like, "We're not watching that before bed." I was like, yeah, you're probably right. That's probably not the best bedtime movie. And then I just couldn't find time to watch the whole thing, which I'm kind of sad about. So I wasted some money because this is a good movie and I get a chance to finish it.
Have you never seen Children of Men?
I've seen it. I've only seen it once.
Oh, okay.
I was looking forward to the rewatch, but then I wasted $4.
I think anybody who creates a list of greatest films of the 21st century, Children of Men has to be
Children of Men's incredible
on that list. I think it's a masterpiece. It was ahead of its time in 2006, I think. I don't think it got the love that it deserved. Alfonso Cuarón didn't get the love that he deserved, but that movie ages so well. And not even just because of like how well it's shot. It is remarkable storytelling and a fantastic ensemble.
Yep.
Yeah.
The storytelling is top tier. It's so good. The cinematography of this movie is amongst my favorites of anything I've ever seen. This might be one of the best movies to teach any person who's interested in movies what good filmmaking actually looks like.
As we know, Chiwetel has a couple of films that he's directed. And I think you can tell in these films of like him learning from these filmmakers he's working with, because specifically I think about Alfonso Cuarón and how he uses the camera in this film, but also, and we'll get to it, how Steve McQueen also does the same thing of information happening in a frame. And Chiwetel does that really well also in his direct, and I want to point that out.
It's like 20 years later, and the way this movie shot still stands out compared to even like contemporary movies. I love the long tracking shots that they do. And he's in like two of the more iconic scenes. One where they steal the car and he chases them down on foot. And then the other at the end with they're in the war zone with the baby and everyone stops fighting. I think both of those scenes are fairly iconic, and he is a main point in both of those scenes. This is him playing like essentially a bad guy who's thinks he's a good guy. You know, he's the leader of the uprising, and so he kind of gets to lean into that sinister kind of style, and I think he crushes it. And I just know in both of those scenes you feel like you're running away from him and you're like, oh shit, he is on our ass, like we got to go right now. I just love the way it's filmed.
Even the scene where they're escaping from the rioters in the forest and the camera's just spinning in the car.
That's the one.
Oh, right.
That's the one.
And Chiwetel was driving at that point. So there's a lot of physical performance that he's evoking in that scene as well. And when he shoots the two police officers, it's so quick, it's so menacing. He's yelling at Clive Owen at the end of the shot. You're just terrified of this man because he's a revolutionary, but you don't know what he's going to do. And he's just so good.
He's able to tuck that inside in a way that says so much about that character as a whole. That there is this kind of by any means necessary tucked underneath. Mm-hmm. And because he's so charming, he shows up on screen to me every time he's a bad guy. It becomes like a plot twist to me because I just believe him and I trust him. Like, oh no, he thinks that this is what we should do. Yeah, we should do what this guy says. And then he kind of just shows it in like a controlled way. Like when he shoots the cops and does the thing, it's like a controlled release of that. And then he pulls it back in. It's a very nuanced way to present this character, which again feels unique and plays really well with the rest of everything that's happening in this movie.
Man, I really wasted those $4. I fucked up.
Kyle, Michael Caine crushes his role too. He's such a good stoner.
Pull my finger.
Yeah, I mean, he's iconic with that long hair, like hippie situation going on.
Pull my finger.
In the best way possible. Michael Caine is in a different movie.
He was in the first third that I watched before my rental ran out.
The password for his friend is tell him he's a fascist pig. I was like, that's a good password. Like that's
2006, he joined Tim Roth in Tsunami, the Aftermath 2-part series as Ian, another Golden Globe nom.
I didn't watch this and I'm disappointed in myself.
It's supposed to be pretty good.
He has so much like actually painful stories to watch that I saw the title of this and I was like, you know what? Someone else can watch this.
It's just fucking punishment. He's like, how can you punish me today?
I love a good disaster movie.
Is it genocide? Is it slavery? Is it tsunamis? What is it today? So back to the Denzel world. American Gangster 2007 plays Huey.
I think he's great in this movie.
Yeah,
I think he's the right-hand man of Denzel, and I think he plays it very well. My favorite scene in this is when Chiwetel's driver shoots that cokehead dude at the party in the leg for feeling up his girlfriend, and Denzel slams his head with the piano. So fucking funny to me that my friends in college would always make the joke whenever someone would like spill a drink on our shitty college carpet. We'd clean it up. Someone would be like, "You don't rub that. You blot that shit." Be like, "It's $25,000 alpaca. You blot that shit." And it's like Miller Lite on like this sticky carpet.
I love this film. I also think this is a deeply misunderstood film. Considering the ensemble, considering the subject matter, the performances, like everything that's coming out of this film, I just wish it was lauded over a lot more.
You wish it was more than the "my man" meme that you see all over the place with Denzel?
Yeah, like that's really all it's become. Like,
I mean, he says it a lot. But...
he does. Like, there's a lot of Denzel-isms happening in this film for sure.
My man.
I forget seeing the trailer to this for the first time and knew that this was coming out, and I was like, this is going to sweep the Oscars. Mm-hmm. Like, just move out the way. I think it just came and went.
Mm-hmm.
It's not talked about very often.
Yeah, Ruby Dee was the only one nominated.
She was. Deservedly so.
I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is really interested in this movie because he's kind of an idiot. I really feel like you can say he's one of the top reasons Frank Lucas goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, you get into business with your friends and family, and everyone's uber wealthy now and coked out of their minds. They're all making like the wrong decisions all the time. The only one keeping them in line is him.
I like him in this. He's doing a thing that I think is hard, and he's doing it well, which is he just doesn't seem cut out for what it is he's being asked to do. He's loving the success of it. He doesn't know what he's doing. And that is a frustration point for Denzel. And I find that to be really interesting. I also find it to be really interesting that somebody with kind of the stature and regality of like Chiwetel Ejiofor is like a fuck up. Like he's the one that like can't get it together. Whereas like T.I. just hops right in and he got it, you know, but Chiwetel Ejiofor is kind of like, you want me to fire my driver, but nah, I like my guy.
He's like, that's my friend, man.
Yeah, like he's just not made for the world that Frank Lucas is building.
He's like, he shot someone at the party.
I'm going to keep us moving because I really want to talk about Red Belt. He plays Mike Terry, 2008. Pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah.
Never heard of it before. Didn't think I would enjoy a jiu-jitsu film, but I like the beats.
I wish I got to this and I couldn't get to it.
It was an intentional indie film by Sony Pictures or Sony Studios. It was so understated in its marketing and promotion of it. And so when I watched it, I was like, damn, this is a good movie. How did I never hear of this?
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other actors in there that are really playing against typecast. Pretty easy watch, too. The story moves well. There's not a lot of absurd storylines and plots and subplots that you need to take leaps on. It's just a fun watch.
It doesn't appear hokey to watch him do martial arts. Like, it feels natural, which is, I think, says something to me of like, he's shown he can do a lot of things to be in a combat film.
Yeah.
Especially pivotal moment. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought the brilliance of this movie was portraying him more as a philosophical warrior. And I think that leans into his wheelhouse as an actor and then allowed him to fill in the rest. Agreed. I thought he was really good in this.
His character just continually gets fucked over. And so what Chiwetel does well is kind of wear that internal pain of like he recognizes his personal life and professional lives are crumbling underneath. And the only way he can fix it is if he participates in an MMA tournament as a jiu-jitsu fighter, when everything about him as an instructor would say, this is bullshit, this is commercial crap, yada, yada, yada. So there's some familiar beats, but it's a pretty cool little film.
I wouldn't be surprised if Warrior was inspired or at least had some like
Wouldn't be shocked.
influence in this because it had a feel of that.
Warrior, I think, came out in 2009, 2010, something like that. 2008 was his first of 4 directing projects, as Josh talked about. He directed his first of 2 shorts called Slapper. So just a note there. 2012, and from 2009, not to confuse anybody, alongside Oliver Platt and Woody Harrelson. We've talked about this movie a lot. We did talk about it for like 110 episodes, and now it feels like every actor we cover is in 2012. I feel like this was the precursor for him getting hired to be in The Martian years later. Like, hey, you could do that thing. We're just going to put you in a better movie this time. That's kind of how I gathered.
Yo, imagine that's what it was.
I don't remember his role in this.
I haven't rewatched it since the Oliver Platt episode, but he's like involved in the team that's trying to do the science to fix the world.
The scientist.
Love a good hot scientist. It's always the best. Here's 5 people who absolutely would never be scientists. Here they are.
A point I want to bring up, but I didn't get to sneak in when we were talking about American Gangster, is in that movie and in this movie, despite massive and talented ensemble casts, he's third billed. I mean, he is top of the call sheet. That's incredibly impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy in American Gangster, too, because you're with Academy Award winners.
Yeah, it was Denzel, Russell Crowe, then him.
That makes sense because at that point, Josh Brolin, like a lot of those other actors weren't who they are now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last one here before we get to highest critic, Endgame, not the Avengers version, but Endgame with William Hurt. Chiwetel got a Golden Globe nom, plays Thabo. This movie you really can't find to watch anywhere. It's not streaming anywhere. I've never seen it, but decent reviews from what I can tell online. Heavy topic, a story based on the covert discussions that brought down the apartheid regime in South Africa. Again, playing a role in a movie that tackles really important social issues.
Show you how fried my brain is with Marvel stuff. I legitimately thought you just like shorthanded
Mordo.
No, Avengers. And I was like, I do not remember him.
Like, no, he hasn't showed up. We'll talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
the end credits of Doctor Strange, we're all like, oh shit, no more sorcerers. I haven't seen that yet.
The Avengers getting sent in to deal with apartheid is crazy. You got Captain America in South Africa.
Oh my god.
Apartheid is crazy.
Don't put it past Marvel. All right. Highest critic score, 12 Years a Slave, plays Solomon, Oscar and Golden Globe noms, and a BAFTA win. And Josh, our guest Munson.
I, oddly enough, was very excited to talk about this film. Yeah, so after 2 critically acclaimed films from Steve McQueen, he spent a lot of time wondering what his third film was going to be. And he expressed how he was very interested in talking about a story centered around slavery. He felt like there was a void in cinema that really explored this institution as a main focal point, not just like a side story. So he read the memoir of Solomon Northup, and he said it was as if he read the Diary of Anne Frank. And he was just shocked that it wasn't a story that was more mainstream and people weren't familiar with. And so he became obsessed with it. And this became his third film, what I consider to be a masterpiece. It follows the story of Solomon Northup, who was a free man in the 1800s, lived in New York. He was a violinist and he played the fiddle as well. He was seduced into playing in Washington, D.C. for some men who claimed to be performers who ended up drugging him and selling him into slavery. So we follow his journey as he travels down, and he is moved around from different plantations. But we as an audience are linked to his POV the entire way. And so we're diving into the institution of chattel slavery through his eyes as free people. And it is unflinching, brutal film. That is something that Steve McQueen expressed he was very intentional about. But he does it, I think, a very smart, poetic way. You never feel like he is forcing himself on the narrative. And it really allows the performances to really take center in this film. The performances are breathtaking. They're remarkable and hard to witness, to be honest. And Chiwetel is just heartbreaking in this film. Very different from all of his performances up until this point. He's asked to carry very heavy and long film on his shoulders. A lot of it's just done with his facial expression, with his eyes, what he's seeing, what he's witnessing. So there's literally a moment, I think it's like 85 seconds, I counted, of him just looking around, and then ultimately his gaze goes right into the lens and he's staring at us. And it just forces us as the audience to just bear witness to what is happening the same way he is. He's absolutely brilliant in this film. You also get some remarkable performances from Michael Fassbender and Lupita Nyong'o, who ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. This film ultimately went on to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards that year. And John Ridley, who adapted the memoir, won Best Adapted Screenplay as well. This is probably like my 5th time seeing it. And It's one of those things where like I completely understand. I think the brutality of this film would keep people from revisiting it. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And at the same time, I'm very shocked by how little this film is talked about in the pantheon of masterpieces within the 21st century. I think this is a perfect film, if there is such a thing. Chiwetel, I think, gives one of his best, if not his absolute best performance in this film. He, too, is nominated for an Academy Award and an essential work of cinema. Oftentimes, I think it's important for us to just bear witness. This is very different than Amistad. I watched this film first because I knew I was talking about it. And then I watched Amistad for the very first time.
You and I did the same thing.
Yeah, had an effect on my experience watching that film, and I have to own that. And sometimes expectations can rob me of appreciating a thing. But where in Amistad, I feel like Steven Spielberg very much is inserting himself in the narrative. Like it's a lot of Spielbergian tones and choices in the film, and I think I was more drawn, at least on that day, to what Steve McQueen was doing. Chiwetel was doing something really interesting in this film. He was able to return back to his family. But there's like a deep shame that he holds at the end of this film and a guilt, almost like a survivor's guilt. He apologizes to his family when he sees them again, not only for his appearance, but also his absence, never taking into consideration like what he's gone through, because I think there's a part of him that understands that he left Patsy, which is Lupita Nyong'o's character. And all of that is just being embodied in his performance. You know, in his facial expressions, tonality of his voice, the physicality, the way he walks, his posture completely changes from the beginning of the film to the end. This is a heavy, heavy performance that he does with ease. That was a dense year for performances.
Seriously, it's a bad year for him to get nominated.
It was a bad year for him to be nominated because it's kind of forgotten that we have this performance. Like this performance exists.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, but Leo and Matthew McConaughey and
Dallas Buyers Club.
And it's just, so it's just a lot going on. But man, this performance exists.
That's the most heartbreaking part of this for me. Rewatching this, it's like he's a master of his craft. And unfortunately, he's overshadowed by McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club and Leo and The Wolf of Wall Street. Because that's what people think of from that year, even though this movie won Best Picture.
Right.
Those are two iconic pop culture roles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
It's incredible performance. I think you do need to tell stories like this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make it less true just because it's hard to watch, right? If we put a Spielberg shine on it, sure, maybe more people will see it, but that might also be like slowly erasing the pain that has actually took place. Cause like there's like almost no scene in this movie where you feel comfortable. Like even when he's having the memories of when he was free, there's like a melancholiness to it. You mentioned him feeling the guilt at the end when he meets back with his family. The movie opens with him having the least enjoyable sexual experience, essentially cheating on his wife. And it's mostly because he's like just forced to be on top of other people. And it's like, I want to feel something other than pain for like 5 seconds. And it's a hard movie to watch. And it's intentionally a hard movie to watch. I know Steve McQueen said that Ejiofor was the only actor he wanted for that role. He's like, I wanted someone who has a gentleness to him, humanity to him, because the whole movie is about testing that humanity. That was the only actor he had in mind for that role. And it shows because he's incredible in it.
I vowed to never watch this movie again. I watched it the first time when it came out, and I was like, no, I'm good. I showed clips in my class when I would teach about slavery because I find it an effective tool to get them to understand what actually was going on. Breaking my vow and watching it again this second time, I mean, it's everything I thought it was. It's a masterpiece for sure. I think there's a couple of scenes that I just have to shout out. When he's first imprisoned, and this is a scene that I've actually shown before when they're telling him what his new name is and they're going through the whole thing. But the very first sequence, when he's trying to explain to them what's going on, the guy just says, look, we could solve this all real quick. Just show me your papers. Yeah. And it's a scene that hits really different now. It just in a way that I think really good films have the capacity to do. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor, I think this is a God level performance. I don't know how anybody can contain this much emotion in so many different ways. Like, he's feeling so many different things and portraying them at all the different times. Like, even going back to when he's first in prison and the kid is yelling mom, and he's like lying to this kid and yelling at him to get him to stop.
Yeah.
That urgency it's brutal in a way that, like, it's hard to take in. And he has these soft and kind eyes. There's a hope to him that is really endearing. When he loses that, even for a moment, it's very harsh and very visceral. It's a really strong performance.
This movie specifically is operating as a mirror, right? And that can be uncomfortable. And it makes choices. It doesn't tell you when to feel anything. It's just showing you how normal this was. You know, genocides are taking place. People are enslaved. Families are being separated. It's imperative that we, again, bear witness and engage with this sort of stuff so then we can have a larger imagination of how we deal with our present. And I think we lack that deeply.
One note I will make as I've poken around on the Oscar site, 2013 is one of the main reasons I fell in love with the world of film. Because, like, if you look at the films that were nominated and then the films down the line.
Great year.
What an incredible year of movies. Obviously, Dallas Buyers, American Hustle, whatever. Nebraska's great. Wolf of Wall Street's great. 12 Years a Slave.
Great year.
Captain Phillips. I don't really care for Blue Jasmine. Gravity. Philomena. Frozen came out that year.
I can't believe you whatevered American Hustle.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
You don't like American Hustle?
So do I. I thought Christian Bale was great in it. I thought he deserved his nomination.
Inside Llewyn Davis. Prisoners. Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
The Hunt, which is one of my favorite all-time films that was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film that year.
Yeah.
And then Saving Mr. Banks. And I left out three others I think worth noting. Star Trek Into Darkness, just because that's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
And then two others, Before Midnight, great movie, and Her. Like, 2013 was a fucking banger of a year for film.
Great year.
Her is incredible.
That is a good year. You sold me. That's actually like 20 awesome movies came out that year. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 2013 is wild, dude. So riding that, let's talk about a movie that wasn't that great from 2018. I think, I don't know. Case, you want to talk about Half of a Yellow Sun as largest Critic Gap? I don't know. You tell me.
I don't really want to talk about it, but I will out of obligation. Real quick, Kyle, a movie you missed in there, I think it was a TV movie, was Phil Spector.
Yeah, Phil Spector.
That caught my attention because that was directed by David Mamet, which also did Red Belt.
Oh, that's right.
Another director he's doing multiple projects with, which is interesting. But all right, let's get into Half a Yellow Sun. Who else treated themselves to this? It was free.
I did. I watched it.
It's not as bad as Slow Burn, is what I'll say. But,
well,
it's a rough film. And that's unfortunate because, and I know this is based off a book, but it's unfortunate because the material can be very rich and you can tell.
Yes.
But man, the movie is rough.
Half a Yellow Sun is a 2013 Nigerian drama based on a novel of the same name, as Josh was just talking about. Adapting Adichie's sprawling and emotional masterwork of Half a Yellow Sun into a 2-hour film was probably the biggest issue with this movie. The film adaptation struggles at times due to the story's massive character arcs and the weight of its historical and narrative scope. However, the film finds a really good anchor and highlight in Chiwetel's performance, but there's a twist to it, and I'll share that at the end. I'll get into the Critic Gap from the jump. The film was hammered by fans that love the novel. In the book, Ejiofor's character is way more prominent. He's almost a central character. In the movie, it's actually flipped, and it focuses on the twin sisters played by Thandie Newton and Annika Noni Rose. I saw a couple different theories on why the film took this direction, and one I think makes more sense than others, and that being that this is a Nigerian film, it was subject to potential censorship, and the filmmakers may have been concerned that if they focused too much on Chiwetel's character and the revolution that was going on, it could have kind of promoted the revolution and promoted dissension, and that would have shut the film down. So I don't know this to be a fact, but reading different theories and different reviews, that one kind of makes the most sense to me. In the first act of the film, he's electric. He introduces us to Odenigbo as the main character, this kind of circle of elite thinkers and revolutionary thinkers, and he's drunk on his own intellect, and in the intoxicating promise of post-colonial Africa. Ejiofor uses his booming voice, expressive facial emotions to control every scene that he's in, particularly during the lively, politically charged debates in his university living room with other members of the faculty. He makes it entirely believable that a sophisticated woman like Olana, played by Thandoi Newton, would forsake her wealthy, comfortable life in Lagos for him. Yet Ejiofor is careful not to sand out his character's edges. He perfectly captures his character's arrogance, his suffocating mother complex. I struggled with that to understand what was going on because it wasn't developed very well. As the story proceeds, though, his character begins to be beaten down, but he continues to brilliantly convey the specific agony of an intellectual who realizes that his theories and rhetoric are useless against bombs, bullets, and famine. As the story continues to unfold, the character begins to demonstrate more and more character flaws, continuing to weaken his character's reliability and his validity amongst his peers. Half a Yellow Sun, as a film, felt like a hurried summary of a much greater novel. Unfortunately, though, with the plot flip, I think his performance in this movie might have been wasted. We talk about this all the time. You know how like when a movie has a bunch of different producers or a bunch of different writers, or It felt like that. It wasn't the case, but it felt like that. So I knew there was something going on. So here's some things that I found. The main character of Odenigbo was promised to Ejiofor from day one. However, he got cast in 12 Years a Slave. And so they had to condense the filming of this movie down to 33 days. So they filmed a famous, epic Nigerian novel in 33 days. There was a ton of illness on the set with malaria and typhoid. And I know Thandoi Newton was one of the people that had to miss several days of filming because of it.
Jesus.
Adapting Odenigbo from the page to screen required some careful calibration. Bandele, the author, noted that he intentionally had to tone down the character for film. In the novel, Odenigbo's revolutionary lover persona and grand sweeping intellect are larger than life. As good as Ejiofor played this character, I never felt that character to have that grand persona. I just don't think this was a very good movie in execution. It moved so fast and everything was just very half-baked.
I think it would have been much better as a miniseries.
100%.
Yeah.
Give it more time to tell the story and let the characters. They were set up for failure from the start by trying to turn it into a 2-hour movie.
100%. In the age of streaming, let's turn this into a series. And let's let the characters be developed in a way that they need to be developed.
I'm a sucker for a story that's trying to tell like intimate, interpersonal stories with like a political backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to tackle the Biafran War is just so grand in scale.
Yes.
To not do it justice just feels like such a loss. And you said it well, like Chiwetel is being underutilized here.
Yep.
Because there's some scenes where I'm like, oh, there he is.
He chews it up. Oh, yeah.
That man is incredible. Something that we should talk about more often is like his ability to really change his voice, dialects, the languages that he takes on. Like, you know, there's a different dialect that he's doing in Amistad. There's a different dialect that he's doing here with Igbo. Right? There's another movie that we'll talk about later. He's able to do that very convincingly. And I know he has Nigerian background, but he's a good actor. It's so evident. But man, this movie just strips all that away.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, I'm saying this legitimately. I wonder if 12 Years a Slave ruined this movie. If he didn't have to leave to shoot that movie, would this movie have stayed more true to the novel and be focused on him?
And I get why he picked it. Nigerian story.
100%.
Go back to your roots, right? Like it makes sense why he would play that role. But hey, 12 Years a Slave worked out for him, so I guess he can't be too mad at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Next 6 years here, we got Dancing on the Edge, plays Lewis. Emmy and Golden Globe noms 2014. So stacking up more of the Golden Globe and Emmy noms. He hasn't won the big awards in his career, but he's been nominated a ton of times. As Chip Hessenfeld would say, Z for Zachariah. Plays John alongside Chris Pine and Margot Robbie. And this one, we talked about this one on the Chris Pine episode. And I remember us fawning over, in particular, Chiwetel's role in the film and really enjoying him the most. I think consensus-wise, we liked him the most of the three of them in this picture. I think it was him, Pine, and then Robbie were the kind of our rundown there. But he plays a character who's dealing with a lot of pain and angst and agony in this weird love triangle. I think it's a really good Chiwetel role. I think he crushes it.
Yeah, but that's like every role.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
Have we come across a shitty performance yet?
We couldn't see Deadly Voyage. It doesn't exist anywhere, so I can't speak to that one. But
even when we have actors that we like, we're not trying to say anything shitty about them. We'll say things like, this actor's not the worst thing about this movie. We've not even said that.
no.
He's usually the best part.
Yeah.
We don't even acknowledge that as a bad movie. We're just like, he was awesome.
I've never seen Melinda and Melinda, so I can't speak to that one. Or Red Dust, but maybe he's bad in those. I don't know. It's just speculation.
Maybe.
2015, he actually got the Global Promise Award from GEANCO Foundation. Is it Jinko Foundation? For his charity work in Nigeria. So the man puts his time, energy, and passion into the work, where he's from. That's the kind of stuff that's, I think, important to note off the screen when you're not doing the job of filmmaking. Back to the big budget side, Martian, 2015, plays Vincent alongside Jessica Chastain and Kristen Wiig, part of the team trying to keep Matt Damon alive.
I love this movie. His performance is good. I feel that way about pretty much everyone that's not Matt Damon. Like,
Matt Damon.
It's kind of the way the movie is kind of spilled out. Everyone gets a little bit of time to shine.
Mm-hmm. He's very convincing in his role working with NASA.
Great Donald Glover performance in this movie.
Yes, it is. Our Avengers reference here. Doctor Strange plays Mordo. Really, really hates sorcerers by the end of the movie. God, he hates sorcerers.
Underrated performance.
He's pretty good in this movie.
He's getting after it in this.
What is he doing in this movie? I've never seen this movie, obviously.
Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, essentially trying to heal himself, and he comes upon like mystic arts.
Mm-hmm.
Tilda Swinton is the person who is kind of ushering him into this world. Chiwetel Ejiofor is basically
mentor,
the guy there until Stephen Strange comes. And so,
was it a big deal that Ejiofor took this role?
Not really. It is a big deal in the sense of like, he's a great addition to what is already a great cast, because you have Tilda Swinton, you have Benedict Cumberbatch, you have Matt Mickelson. I don't want to say he steals the show, but he gets after it in this. It's an underrated performance, what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you get to the end, they set up what I think could have been something that was insanely interesting.
Mm-hmm. And they might still pay off on it.
I hope so, because by the time they get to his post-credit scene, I'm like, this is the movie I want to see. I like Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange is a good Marvel movie. I rewatched this recently because we went through all the Marvel movies again. So we had just come up to this in that time. It's an underrated movie.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is one of my favorite origin stories from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's really good. It's a beautiful movie.
Case, he's very staunch and stubborn on, we have a very specific responsibility with the mystic arts, not to misuse it, nor to use it for ill will. And he finds out Tilda Swinton's character has essentially been borrowing from a different realm power to kind of stay alive and learn how to harness it. And Stephen Strange decides to kind of break some of the rules for the greater good.
Okay.
And Mordo is not a fan of that. The final line of the movie is no more sorcerers, because he's, in his mind, no one else other than him should be worthy of the responsibility of this type of thing.
It's a great setup to what could have been a really great and well thought out villain. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is in a situation where he gets a lot to do in this movie by virtue of what was it, Scott Derrickson directed this, what they decided to do with that character, which is they prop him up initially as an archetype. Stephen Strange comes into this new world to learn this thing. Chiwetel Ejiofor is the guy that's already been there and knows all the rules and really respects and honors that tradition. That's an archetype. We've seen that guy a bunch of times before. And then they subvert that with him. And they give him more to do by allowing him to subvert that and seeing what's being done and how it's bastardized the thing that he truly believes in. He becomes this like villain who is off on a noble cause.
Yeah.
The thing he loves is being bastardized, and he's the only one who understands it's the correct way. It's a really, really interesting thing that I don't think a ton of actors could have pulled off in a movie like this.
Yep. And he shows up in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, but as a different variant of the character Case, as Mordo from a different universe who trying to keep a different Doctor Strange in check, because Doctor Strange in their universe has gone off the deep end and tried to kill everybody.
A bit of a frustrating appearance in what I think is a very frustrating movie.
Yeah, with longer hair. That's what I would say. That'd be the difference.
He's a barber.
Hey, but he makes the return. So back in the director's chair, this time also acting in The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, 2019. Good picture.
It's a great movie. His role in particular, first we got to give him a ton of props for learning a new language. Who does that? And then I think the role that he plays in this movie, again, is a really clever thing that speaks to his talents and abilities, because it is essentially a character that we're all familiar with. He is a barrier to the thing that his son is trying to do. And we've seen that version of that. It's all the time we see that version where the parent is ultimately the barrier because of their own individual stubbornness or unwillingness to see the kid's idea as a legitimate idea. But he plays it with so much heart that it becomes very real, the predicament that he's in and what he's putting on the line to kind of go into this, like the pressure that's on him. It's a very nuanced performance from him. While it is good direction, I am also in awe of this performance.
He wrote, directed, and starred in this.
Yes, he did. And it's really good.
How many other movies have we had somebody do that?
Not many.
Nope.
It was a story that he found really compelling and put his time, energy, and money behind making it reality.
I'll always be in awe of actors who are directing as well.
Hard. That's hard.
They're both individually really difficult to do, and he does both of them really well.
Yeah.
In this film. What I mentioned earlier, you can tell just like him working with other really great filmmakers over the years, and then him also being an incredible actor himself. He tells a really compelling story. He allows the camera to breathe. He allows the performances to be center stage. Like, there was never a false note I saw from anybody on camera. This felt so lived in. His performance is extremely committed, which usually is the fall off when an actor decides to direct, where it's just like they kind of become second fiddle and somebody else is like, his performance is really committed in this, which is impressive because he has to focus on so many other things. And it's just a heartfelt story. I literally teared up when they finally got water at the end. It was just in awe. I was expecting to like the film. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And this, if I was to rank his performances, and I obviously know I missed some, but from what I've seen, this would probably be like top 5 for me.
Wow.
We'll see if it shows up on Case's list at the end, baby.
No, I agree with that. This is one of his better performances amongst great performances. Like, he really elevates in this.
Whenever I hear of an actor who is directing something that they're acting in, and it's like universally agreed upon that they did a good job directing it, I always wonder if there's like a right-hand man or a number 2 that can be behind the camera while they're performing that like shoots them straight. You know, it'd be like, because wouldn't you just feel like, I think I nailed that one and just like move on? Like, I feel you would need someone to be like, hey man, you didn't really get what we were going for there. Because I don't know, when you're like the person who's submitting the project at the end, it just seems easy to hype yourself up and make mistakes. And when that doesn't happen, I wish I could be a fly on the wall for how the production went.
Imagine in the middle of a monologue, just stopping and go, cut. Like, all right.
Yeah, be like, sorry, I fucked up.
He gets into himself. He argues with himself.
Let's take 5. This guy doesn't know his lines.
I think everybody would appreciate that self-deprecation. God, this guy didn't come prepared at all today. He spoke to preparation when I saw the interview.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it came down to preparation. That's how I made sure every day went well. Like, I got to make sure I know my lines. I got to know where everybody needs to be. Like, it's an extra level of preparation that most directors don't have to do.
He had a great interview with Trevor Noah about this, where like usually those type of interviews go off the rails about other stuff. Trevor Noah was locked in and was like, we're going to talk about this movie. And they really got into it.
I love it. Do we love his role as Scar in The Lion King 2019? I mean, his voice is perfect for something like this. Give him a chance to showcase that.
I did highlight this because while I don't love this Lion King, big fan of Mufasa, though. I'm going to just throw that out there. I love Mufasa.
Yes. Oh,
I do love what he's doing with his voice. That's really difficult. He's a chameleon in the ways in which he uses his voice. And this showcases it at a high level, obviously, because it's voice acting. And it's big shoes to fill. Jeremy Irons is the iconic voice of Scar, and you have to somehow mimic that, but also make it your own thing. And I enjoy what he's doing here.
he needed to have a conversation with Alan Tudyk on Serenity, and Alan should have convinced him to do more voice acting because he's got the voice for it. He could do incredible work in that space.
Yeah, he's got a great voice for this type of thing. There's a level of ambition to this role that I respect. It's tough to step into any of these roles in this movie, but there's a couple that specifically like, you sure you want to do that one? And this is one of those.
For sure.
He made it his own. I don't like this movie at all. Like, so much so as to where I started watching this and I was just like, I'm not doing this. And I like cut it out after a few of his scenes. I love what he is doing specifically. I think what he's doing is really good. And I don't think the faults of this movie really have much to do with anybody in the cast.
No.
Particularly not him. He's doing a lot, singing songs, being a menacing voice, like he's really going for it. And it pays off.
The only way you could take on this role is to make it your own. You can't be doing a B-level Jeremy Irons impression. You have to make this character into a different version of itself. And I do think he did that. The faults of this movie are not on some of the performers. It's on some of the creative choices, in my opinion. Kind of lose the soul of the original Lion King when you're using real animals because they can't emote the same way. But I do like him kind of playing, instead of Scar being, this cool, calm and slimy uncle, he's more of like a on the edge of your seat. Like you could tell he's like ready to explode, which is a different version. Like Jeremy Irons is like, oh yeah, I know this is a bad guy, but he's like kind of like plotting. With this one, it's like he can blow up any moment and, kill everybody. And that's kind of the vibe he gives off.
Jon Favreau had a hard time getting these animals to emote. You know who didn't have that problem? Barry Jenkins.
I saw Mufasa 3 times in theaters and I was blown away.
This podcast said very positive things about Mufasa. It is time to move us on to the final review, which is largest audience gap, which is Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, plays Canal from 2019 alongside a couple other Munsons I'll mention.
I've seen the first one. I tried with this one and it's like, no, I'm good.
You didn't finish it. All right, so you're on the split of 40-95. It sounds like you might be more on the side of the critics here, is what I'm hearing. The quick and dirty version of the plot of this movie: Aurora and Prince Philip plan to marry. Maleficent isn't a fan because she hates humans. Queen Ingrid, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, wants to meet the in-laws. She's actually pretty sinister, shocker, and wants to take over the Moors. King thinks their union will bring peace to the realm. What an idiot, am I right? And Maleficent reluctantly agrees to attend. Things go awry, and the Queen frames Maleficent. And I nail it. Aubrey, is that kind of...
Hey, man, it sounds good to me. I don't really remember. I haven't watched this movie in a while.
It features performances from a couple Munsons. So Angelina Jolie is Maleficent and Juno Temple as Thistlewit, one of the weird pixie aunties that her, Imelda Staunton, and Leslie Manville that literally give me nightmares. Chiwetel plays Canal, who I'd seen this before. I didn't remember his character, but he plays a key leader of the Dark Fae, which is essentially Maleficent's species. It's a hidden species of winged horn fairies. They just don't have all of the power that she has. Don't you shoot that green shit at me vibe. He's the peacekeeping, reasonable type, trying to keep their people from going to war against the humans. So while others are like, the humans have wronged us, we should take them out, he's like, hey, maybe we can find a way, right? And you could see Chiwetel playing a role like that, where he's, hey, I've got all the wisdom, we're just misunderstood, they're misunderstood, we can figure it out. He takes Maleficent under his wing, mentors her, and he actually sacrifices himself for her because they figure out iron can kill them. And so he kind of stands in front of a bunch of bullets for her pretty early on in the relationship, which is kind of silly on his part, to be honest. But his presence and his voice is exactly why he was hired into this role. They needed someone with gravitas that could step in and basically make the species feel like they have a chance and they can figure it out. My key takeaway to this movie is it's a movie about fear of difference, genocide, and power. And much to our conversation earlier, it's very relatable to today. A story where there's false flags to foment hatred, people fighting senseless wars based out of ignorance. Does that sound relevant at all to anything that you guys might have known about currently happening? So I'll give it that. Very relevant storyline that we're dealing with today.
I'm still tripping on you saying it was silly to sacrifice yourself for Angelina Jolie.
I mean, Maleficent, maybe, but That's true, though. I was looking at her. I'm like, you know what? I get it. I get the Billy Bob thing now. I understand. So I would call myself more on the critic side on here. I don't know if I got 40. I'm probably in the 50, 55 range, but definitely not the 95 that the audience give this movie, which is absurd.
I saw this a while ago. I don't remember it all that well. It's kind of one of those. I don't really like either of these movies all that much. I know Maleficent does pretty well with people.
It does.
So I just was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember him, so I was like, somebody will tell me.
He doesn't do a poor job. It's just the world around him. It's like, it's really doesn't need to exist. Apparently fans would say yes. 95% is pretty overwhelming positivity. Wow. So, hey.
Was it $500 million?
Make some money, man. Get your bag, baby. Get your bag for Maleficent 2. We'll keep it moving, though. 2020 to present. So the Old Guard plays Copley. Old Guard 2, which came out this past year, makes a return, has a little bit of a bigger role in the Old Guard 2. It's an interesting concept of a film. Charlize Theron, James, doing her thing, being the leader of this group of ageless fighters who are invincible, immortals.
Well, she just played herself.
Yeah, exactly. Timeless. Charlize Theron. He is not immortal, but by the second movie, they let him have weapons and actually fight people, and they remind him that he's not invincible. You got to be careful, my guy. You can't just be taking shots like the rest of us.
I remember this being a solid movie.
It's solid. Yep. The second one probably doesn't need to exist, and they certainly leave it on a cliffhanger to try to create a third one. Because if you remember in the first one, she was attached to one of the other women who got dumped in the sea. Mm-hmm. They bring that storyline back in the second one because she's scorned because Charlize Theron left her there for 5 centuries or whatever the hell it was. And so she turns into the baddie in the second movie. But it's like, just go see a therapist. And this movie doesn't have to exist. I feel like he's entered at this point this era of Netflix films. Like the 2020s is him. I would bet he has a picture deal with Netflix because he's in a lot of movies that show up on Netflix.
Yeah, this was my least favorite era of his. I do like the Old Guard, though, the first one.
Mm-hmm. Great. Do you enjoy Venom, The Last Dance, where he plays Strickland alongside Tom Hardy and Juno Temple?
Finally, we get to talk about the most important movie in his filmography.
This is the worst of all the Venoms. It's the one without Michelle Williams.
True.
I'm not even talking about this movie. The movie doesn't exist to me.
Has anybody not seen this and wants to try to predict his role in Venom, The Last Dance?
I wrote a pretty good synopsis if you want to hear it.
Hell yeah, I do.
Yes.
Let me set the scene for you. All the scientists in this movie are hot. It's important to remember. He is the head of a military base where all the hot scientists are studying symbiotes. They're kind of like Power Rangers style fight scene at the end here where there's blue Venom and red Venom and purple Venom, and they team up to kill space monsters. And he's the antagonist because he hates the Venoms.
Hates them.
But he realizes that the space monsters are worse, and he kind of has a change of heart there at the end, and he sets off his grenades to destroy the space monsters and himself at the same time. And that's about the plot of the movie, and it's fun for me. I enjoyed it. It's stupid as it sounds, but it's like it knows it's stupid. The way the space monsters kill people is incredible. It's kind of like an automatic wood chipper, which is like shockingly graphic for an MCU movie. Like
it is, man.
Yeah, like if a wood chipper instantly chipped the wood, except it's people and the blood shoots out of these monsters' gills, and it makes a noise like that. It's like, and you just see like mist behind them, which is awesome.
Fucking terrifying.
The movie like sucks, but it's fun. I don't know how else to describe it. And of course, like he's giving 110% in his role, which makes it even funnier because it's like, he's shooting Tom Hardy. He's shooting Tom Hardy, he's
the only one doing that.
Correct. That is correct.
He's the only one giving 110%.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Tom Hardy's in like a buddy comedy. Ejiofor's in like a drama, and they meet and battle it out as like the Power Rangers at the last scene. It's exactly what you think it's going to be.
James and I thoroughly appreciate the Venom films, especially the second one. We saw it in theaters, and we were like, this is buddy comedy, and I'm here for it. If you come here for it, you have a great time.
And so you got Michelle Williams given 110% in the first one, and she knows she's in a dumb movie, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I've not seen any of the Venom films, and y'all make me Y'all make me not ever want to watch them. So.
If you need someone to give you a pitch, James is the guy. James can make it sound like it's great.
Yeah, but be careful. We're learning every time about his tendencies with film recommendations.
I love Tom Hardy. Is he great in these movies?
He's actually pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah,
He's
he
pretty
like
good.
fully commits to the like this guy's on the edge of insanity the whole time. It's the only reason the movie works at all is because he's the one who's like losing his mind the whole time, but he's like also battling this demon that's like a friend of his essentially.
And he voices Venom, so he's doing both parts of that. So
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I've heard the voice before. That's impressive.
It's a hard thing to describe, Josh,
It
but
is.
because we've had a lot of conversations about Tom Hardy, it's good in only the way that Tom Hardy can make it good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how I would describe him in Venom.
That felt disrespectful, but
He enters the Bridget Jones universe as Mr. Walker in 2025 alongside Renee Zellweger as a school attendant, traffic guy who's like loves his whistle and ends up falling in love with Renee Zellweger with Bridget Jones. Guys, this is a big moment for pop culture.
All right.
Yes, I watched this, clearly.
Yeah, you sound excited about this.
are you a fan? Are you a fan? Oh.
No, not at all. But Bridget Jones is like a staple. It's an institution. The third movie.
Rewatching that original one, it is wild that was such a pop culture phenomenon. They talk about her and they're like, oh, she's so fat and chubby. And I was like, she is the ideal weight.
Yes.
When I look at it, I was like, that's not a big woman at all. The original one, when I watched it, felt dated looking back at it, but I know it was a huge hit. So I was shocked that they kind of made it this one.
Our last one here, Aubrey wants to talk about the tension that he and I both experienced watching Eleanor the Great, where he plays Roger.
This movie is crazy. He is very well cast in this movie. For long portions of it, he's doing a very simple thing. He's a dad with a complicated relationship with his daughter, and he's kind of distant. So he pops in and out, blah, blah, blah. He works really well because we are meant to believe really early on that he's a big deal, at least to June Squibb's character, that he's a really big deal. And seeing Chiwetel Ejiofor, it just gives off that demeanor. So when she kind of fawns over him, it just makes sense. The reason you cast him, though, is for his monologue at the end. He absolutely kills that shit.
Agreed.
Just straight to camera, killing this monologue that does some pretty interesting things. It essentially outlines and lays out the themes of the movie and kind of how you should interpret them. Like the big questions you should walk away with, he basically covers in this monologue, which I think could be really sloppily done if not handled so well by both all of the directing, the writing, and his performance. He gives a great monologue there and really drives home everything. I think this movie is really good. It's directed by Scarlett Johansson.
I did not know that.
Yeah, how did she do?
She kills. I think she does a great job. This movie could be a movie that's wrestling with tones, and I actually saw some people that said that. I don't agree with that. I think this movie is very serious. It's dealing with very weighty things. But because she's not really in a rush to do a ton, she lets things kind of sit. It feels very confident in how she's portraying the story. Funny things are happening around and lighter things are happening around, but the weight of what we should be taking away from this movie stays focused, which I think is really good. It was a really strong display from her. This is a movie that I think people should watch. And
I love that we created a film in 2025 where the lead actress is 96 years old.
Yes.
In June Squibb. Let June cook.
And it's not about her being 95 years old or whatever.
No.
She just is that. The movie is about grief. And so things happen naturally to someone that would be that old. But it's not about her being old. She is just the center focus of it. And I think that creates really interesting lanes for all of these super talented actors that we have that are getting older to tell stories from a perspective that we don't often get.
It's been on my watch list for a while. I need to get around to it.
All right, Case, we've reached the mountaintop, my friend. What do you got for top performances?
Well, I've got an article from March 16th, 2023 from okafrica.com. And I'm wrestling with this list, not because of content, but because it says the 10 best Chiwetel films, and they only list 9. We get to pick our own. I think it's a pretty good list. Films, not performances, and it's not ranked. There's just 9 of them.
All right, give me Kinky Boots to get us kicked off.
All right, well, you'd be right. Kinky Boots comes in as one of the 9.
Nice.
The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind.
The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind is also one of the 9.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, Four Brothers is on there.
Obviously, Four Brothers did not make the list.
What?
Oh.
That must have been number 10.
The mystery 10. They struck it after publication. They're like, we can't change the title.
That's right.
Okay. Let's call it 10 just for our own purpose.
I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Four Brothers comes in at number 10.
Thank you.
All right. 12 Years a Slave, since nobody else wants to do it.
Of course.
Yes, 12 Years a Slave is definitely on the list.
Children of Men.
Children of Men is on the list.
Amistad?
Amistad is on the list.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is on the list.
Inside Man.
Inside Man is on the list.
We haven't missed yet. Don't fuck it up.
I don't want to be the person that gets it wrong.
What do we got? 6 of the 9 so far?
No, 7 out of 9.
American Gangster?
American Gangster?
American Gangster is not on the list.
I'm 0 for 2.
Emmett James.
Someone added it.
Yep.
The Martian. The Martian.
Oh,
The Martian is not on the list.
Oh, shit. Never mind.
okay.
Love Actually.
Love Actually is on the list.
Oh, boo. Boo.
Bridget Jones.
No way.
Bridget Jones is not on the list. We've got 1 left. And if we talked about it, we talked about it very quickly.
Which movie was that?
Was it Endgame?
Endgame is not on the list. That wasn't another list I found, but the other list finished up in 2016, so I picked a new one.
How about Serenity as my deep cut for the last one?
Serenity is not on the list. The movie we did not talk about is the 2002 Dirty Pretty Things.
Oh, okay.
I feel justified. Yep. Good flick.
Love Actually is ridiculous to add to that list. That is such a pandering to the masses slop, adding that to the list.
Regardless of how I feel about this movie, I'm going to send so many texts in that group chat about how much I love it when I watch it.
Oh, dude, watch it with your wife and watch her look at you and be like, are you like this the whole time?
Is this what you're doing? All right, so we know 12 Years a Slave is probably his best performance, but like 2-3 category, what would you guys say?
Performance?
Kinky Boots?
Kinky Boots for sure.
Boy Who Harnessed the Wind sounds like it's up there.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about it, and I don't know if y'all saw it, but his performance in Come Sunday is very impressive.
Haven't seen it.
He plays Carlton Pearson, a disgraced figure within the evangelical world, and
We always miss a couple in there where it's like, hey, this one was pretty damn good.
yeah,
Usually the list humbles us.
he's in every scene.
I'm conflicted because his best movie is probably going to be Backrooms that comes out later this spring, that I haven't been able to watch that yet because I am fascinated with that movie and I can't wait to see it. And that's going to be one of his top 3 for sure. So I'm just bummed out that I can't watch it before I put it on my list.
Oh, dude, I've seen this preview. Yes.
Dude, it's going to be awesome.
You're taking away from Aubrey's segment here, guys.
Oh, yeah. Or have I?
I didn't watch the trailer, so it works.
It's going to be awesome.
Well, let's get into the Munson Meter. What we do, we rate every actor on a scale of 0 to 100. That could be anything from longevity, project choice, pop culture impact, acting range, awards footprint, other talents, personal life, comedic chops, box office success, and anything else that matters to us as Munsons. I get the honor of going first. I haven't said the word since we started this, but intensity. That's like the first word that comes to mind with Chiwetel Ejiofor. His intensity on screen is pretty unmatched from a lot of the actors we've covered. Great voice. Kinky Boots was a role that just really stuck out to me as something different from him that I didn't really expect, but showed a versatility that I think takes him into an upper echelon. He definitely enjoys being in an action flick on Netflix these days. Does not steer away from heavy topics. And I respect the commitment to the principle and doing things that matter to him. He's got the Oscar, Golden Globe, and Emmy noms. He hasn't won any of those things, but let's be honest, if he was nominated for 12 Years a Slave in any other year, he probably wins. It's just a tough year, so I'm not going to knock him too much there. And while I do respect him keeping his name and not changing, because too many people change their stage name and take on something else, I think that name recognition hurts for some general audiences because they'll know his work. One, they struggle to pronounce his name, and two, they won't know his name necessarily off the top of their head, but they'll know him from the roles he's done. And so that hurts him from a pop culture recognition standpoint, but certainly doesn't hurt his ability to do the work and do it at a high level. As I was scoring him, I kind of looked at him in the same sense as underrated as someone like Michael Sheen. I think Michael Sheen can do pretty much anything, and not enough people give him the credit for the work he does. Chiwetel's credit, he's got some game changer roles, and he's in some incredible movies. And so for that, I'm going to give him an 83, and I will toss it over to James.
He's never been like the loudest name in Hollywood, but I always feel like all of his roles, his work carries consistently a weight and intention and kind of like there's an emotional depth and like a precision to all of his roles, regardless of the genre he's in. I feel like one of his skills that impresses me is he rarely overplays a moment, which is interesting when you kind of take into account his illustrious theater background.
Yeah.
There's a clarity and a discipline to his delivery, especially in more dramatic roles that are more like dialogue heavy. Yet he still doesn't overplay those roles, which is kind of restraint, I think, is difficult to pull off. But it might be what gives those performances such a lingering impact to me. I think he brings an incredible amount of life to his characters, regardless of the size of the character. Career-wise, very interesting path. He doesn't chase blockbuster fame. He's got prestige dramas balanced with stage work that he returns to, balanced with, some selective mainstream roles. And even in those like blockbuster roles that he is in, he brings like a seriousness to it, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people mail those roles in to cash the check. I appreciate that he does that as well. That kind of career choice has earned my respect, though might also be why he's not necessarily at the center of the pop culture conversations, despite of his talent. He brings intelligence and a sense of gravity to nearly everything he does, consistently strong. I think his subtlety is one of his greatest strengths, but it also might be part of the limitation that he's had up to this point, because everyone will see him and go, I know that guy. I love that guy. What is he in that I love? Oh, right, that one movie. And I think my score for him will skyrocket as his career goes on and he finally starts to bring in those awards and get the recognition that I think we all agree that he deserves. But I'll give him a 78.
Josh, I guess Munson.
This journey has made me fall in love with Chiwetel even more than I already did, because I got to see some stuff that I just didn't get a chance to previously, and I'm just in awe. I think the only thing that's left is I truly believe there's another gear he can go to.
Yeah.
That since 12 Years a Slave, he probably hasn't had a prestigious film that he could really take lead and carry to grand awards. And I think he can, just with the right material and the right director. And so I'm just waiting for that collaboration to happen again. There was a lot of just similarities that I've seen from like Sidney Poitier or even like a Lawrence Fishburne, and what he's able to bring to a role, the presence. He's such a present actor also. Like there's just such an honesty in all the performances, comedic ones, it's fully embodied, dramatic ones. There's so much depth to it. And again, we talked about his voice acting. Like, I just think he has it all. And while he's not a household name, which I guess would take away some points for him, in my opinion, he's recognizable, especially like within the Black community. I think like he's in the same lights of like a Don Cheadle or Jeffrey Wright, like just those actors. Like, he can go there. No, he's not maybe talked about in the same class as Denzel, but from a talent standpoint, he can go toe to toe with an actor like that. And so for me, I have him probably at an 85.
Solid score. Aubrey.
This is the perfect guy for me to go over at this time, because I've been with you guys for a while, and my Munson Meter score is all about just what they do in camera. What is the acting? And it's just me going through these actors and deciphering for my own self what makes all of these people who are super talented, what are the differences between them, and what makes for a great actor as opposed to maybe just a good actor or legendary actor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is a great example of this, because to me, full stop, he is a great actor. It is not hard to see. He can do all of the things you would want it to be. If I were to be pushed to define what an actor does or what an actor is supposed to do, it's embodying a character and the emotions and nuance of that person and what they're going through. He is able to do that no matter what the character is or what the character is going through. He is a perfect example of, I always know who he is because I always see him, but he's also always lost in every character that he's supposed to be. It's beautiful work. It is top tier acting in every possible way that it could be. I honestly think he's amongst the best working actors that there are right now. And when we get the opportunity, we see him really go. He has legendary performances under his belt, legendary performances from multiple different genres. The versatility is there. To me, he's one of them. Josh brought up great names. Those are those people. When you see him, you just know. Yeah, like Jeffrey Wright's probably just better at acting than pretty much everyone else that's there. And you know that, even though you don't say it, like all of the time.
Yeah.
He's entering, to borrow from another field, he's entering Larry Bird territory for me. Whereas when you talk to people who really know basketball, they tell you that Larry Bird is that guy. You don't fuck with Larry Bird. He's one of them. But people that don't know, they don't really know. Chiwetel Ejiofor is kind of like that. So for me, he's an 89.
And we didn't even talk about Talk to Me with Don Cheadle and Chiwetel as well. Another good movie.
Yep.
All right, Case, round us out.
Yeah, I think everything was said that I would have brought up. The only thing I would say is we do have a very small list of directors, writers, and actors that we've covered, and that list includes Stanley Tucci, Tyler Perry, Chris Pine, Tim Robbins, Greta Gerwig, and Woody Harrelson. So when you're talking 134 episodes and only 7 people have done what he's done is pretty impressive. I enjoyed the process of learning more about him and connecting a name to the face that I always recognize. Like I said, I agree with what a lot of people brought up, and so I'm going to give him a 78.
All right. That puts Chiwetel with an 82.6, which is 29th on our list of 134. That's just behind Gina Davis and Bryan Cranston, and just ahead of Steve Buscemi and Will Ferrell.
Interesting.
So that's good company.
Great company, especially, and we've all kind of addressed his lack of pop culture weight. And so to be somebody that a lot of people don't readily recognize, to be that high is interesting.
Yeah. If anything else, people listen to this episode, hopefully will seek out more of his work.
I hope so.
And at least pay attention more to his work. Like, you've seen his stuff, you just may not have connected the dots.
Yeah.
All right, Aubrey, tell us what he's got coming.
He's got some exciting stuff coming. Like,
yes, he does.
This is the time to get on the train. Backrooms is probably the most exciting. It's the soonest.
Yeah.
I have only seen the teaser trailer for this. I don't really watch trailers like that, so I have not watched this trailer. What I can tell you is that Chiwetel Ejiofor is in it and Renata Renciv. So I'm in, and I'm sure I'll love it because I love Renata Renciv.
He's going to be the main too. Like, I think the whole film is going to be resting on him, which is exciting.
It's A24 picture, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight that can be there. But I honestly think the thing that is probably the most exciting, but hasn't really took off yet, is The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to come in 2027. Yeah. So that's him, Diane Lane, Scarlett Johansson, and everyone. Everyone is in this movie.
Leguizamo. Lawrence Fishburne.
Shout out to John Gallagher Jr. I love that guy. He's in this also. Mike Flanagan's directing. I won't see this movie, so you guys can all tell me how great it is.
Oh, I'm going to see it. It's Flanagan. I'm watching it.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Do no wrong.
I'm all in on this.
Yeah, I don't want no parts of this movie. I know Josh will watch it by himself in the middle of the night, probably in a haunted house. So I'm sure it'll be great.
Probably.
I think it's a really interesting cast with a lot of possibilities.
He's got a lot of the actors he used in the Hill House, Bly Manor series, so it's a lot of his returning.
Yeah.
Hey, but I'm only going to mention one more because he's got a couple other that are in development. Josh, this the one right here.
Yeah.
Children of Blood and Bone.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this one.
I was going to say.
A woman blessed with magical powers by the gods and living in a place where you are forbidden to use them teams up with a princess to summon the gods and bring down the oppressive regime. You guys might be like, that doesn't sound that exciting. It's a teen adventure and teen fantasy. So now you might be like, it's really not that exciting. It's directed by Gina Prince Bythewood.
Yeah.
Look at that cast, though. Holy shit.
So there you go. Idris Elba, Viola Davis, Cynthia Erivo, Lashonda Lynch, Regina King, Damson
Incredible.
Idris, Amanda Steinberg.
Yeah,
Incredible
that movie's gonna be out of control.
And I trust Gina. Like,
1,000% I trust.
it's in great hands. I'm excited about that one.
She also co-wrote it.
She directed The Old Guard.
Gina Prince, she slept on. She can go.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got some really exciting stuff coming on.
Hell yeah.
Which is not surprising. He's still got a lot of career left.
Yes, he does.
Of those movies you mentioned, the one I was the least excited for was The Exorcist. And then I clicked into it and I saw it was done by someone who I literally love all of the things they've done about this exact topic. And I was like, oh, all right. So even the bad movie looks awesome. All right, cool. I'm in.
He's about halfway through his career, basically, at this point.
Yeah.
He's literally hitting his stride.
Uh-huh.
A few less Netflix action flicks.
Yeah, dude, come on. You got to get a couple paychecks to get a little comfortable. And now you can go back to choosing prestige movies.
Next episode's going to hit May 7th. We get Corey Wallace coming back. She was with us for Natasha Lyonne, Aubrey Plaza, Dakota Johnson, Lucy Liu, Kristen Wiig, and Oliver Platt. One of those is not like the others. The Wheel had 5 actors thrown on. Tommy Lee Jones, John Goodman, Don Lake, Diane Kruger, and Leslie Bibb. Wheel selected one of those. Corey decided to come join us to talk to this actor. What do we like or dislike from that list?
Hey, this is a sneaky good list. I like this list a lot.
It is. Anybody but Don Lake, please.
Yeah, pretty much is how I'm feeling. I love John Goodman.
He's funny.
John Goodman would be great.
I mean, and Tommy Lee Jones is incredible.
Diane Kruger's good in the things I've seen her in. I think a National Treasure and Inglourious Bastards, but I feel like it might be a little hit and miss.
Diane Kruger's the one that I want. I'm a fan of Diane Kruger. I haven't seen a ton of stuff from her, but the stuff I have seen, I'm really excited for. There's also a couple of things that I've heard about that I haven't gotten to see yet that I'm really excited for. So I know.
And German actress.
She's got some movies that I really want to see. Like In the Fade, I really want to see that. So I kind of hope it's her.
I get National Treasure and National Treasure 2. I'm a happy camper if it's Diane Kruger.
I mean, I'm not going to watch National Treasure, but the rest of them I'm going to watch.
Because you don't like fun. I get it. I understand.
You're a hater of National Treasure?
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
First of all, I don't. Now you sound like my kids, and I don't like that.
Perfect.
That's exactly what my students say. Oh, you can't have the day off, Mr. McKay. Oh, you don't like fun? All right, I don't like that.
You're allergic to fun.
Who do we think Corey picked, knowing her background, history?
I don't know.
Leslie Bibb.
Leslie Bibb.
I could see that for sure.
And then I would get to watch Juror number 2 and maybe even check out a little bit of White Lotus.
Juror number 2 is fine.
Hey, driver, drive these.
Dude,
please, gotta be 18.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Leslie Bibb is fantastic in White Lotus.
Is Leslie Bibb the wife from Talladega Nights?
She is.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Okay.
And I think she's also the wife in Tag, right?
Oh, with Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie.
I saw that movie.
It's like a tractor beam of hotness.
Anybody but Don Lake, but, Corey.
I don't know if I know who that is.
You recognize him, but you don't want to cover him. Who knows? Could be fun. Josh, if you were going to do a back-to-back, who would you pick?
Don Lake.
And probably Tommy Lee Jones, but
I knew he was going to say that.
if you catch me on the right day, John Goodman would have been it.
You can't go wrong with either one of those two. Like, they're both great. But luckily, Josh doesn't decide. Corey doesn't decide. I don't decide, contrary to...
What do you mean, luckily, Josh doesn't decide? That's kind of rude to say.
Well, I'm just, there weren't periods between this.
I was a little offended, but I let it slide.
That was aggressive.
We're going to file a complaint with HR, Josh. Don't worry.
I didn't like how you said it, but I get it. I get it.
Okay.
We've had issues with this guy in the wheel, Josh, so this isn't...
Kyle's personnel file is growing rapidly.
Yes, it is.
All right, let me reframe this. The wheel makes all the choices. It's not Josh. It's not Corey. It's not me, for the record. The wheel decides, and we'll see what happens. Josh, this is kind of your red carpet moment, where we kind of roll out the red carpet. Feel free to plug anything you're working on. Wise words for our audience. The floor is yours, my friend.
Wise words. I'm going to echo a little bit from Crystal from the previous episode of support art. Support art. I'm such an advocate for it. I think art allows people to have radical reimaginations of what the world can be. It connects people. It engenders empathy. And it's an ecosystem. And so we have a responsibility as an audience to engage with the art just as much as creators have a responsibility to create compelling art. And so I want to put that out there in the world. And then the second thing is Pursue Your Dreams, the short documentary that we're premiering at the Florida Film Festival on April 11th is ultimately a movie about pursuing your dreams, but also about how you pursuing your passions can also create a community of people who also can pursue their passions and hopefully make a better world that we live in. And so I want to put that out there for anybody who's on the fence or nervous about taking that extra step to go out and do the thing that you're excited and passionate about. Yeah, anybody who's interested in some of the stuff that I'm working on. Again, there's a short documentary. It's called Welcome. It's about the former poet laureate of Orlando, premiering at the Florida Film Festival, April 11th and also April 15th. We also are at the Sunscreen Film Festival. Anybody who lives out in St. Pete will be in St. Pete May 1st. Come check us out. And then hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll find out some other festivals. And so you can check us out on Instagram, welcome.shortfilm. And we can keep you up to date with everything going on there.
It's awesome, dude. I hope everything goes really well.
Thank you.
Wise words, my friend.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate a guest who listens to the end of the last episode. Crystal will love hearing that too. We love that. That's great.
And she was passionate too, so soaking it all in.
Crystal's great. She's been with us for a while. We're happy to have you back, man. Thanks for coming to spend a couple hours with us. We'll tag you in all the things and, the usual. As we wrap things, you can always find us on Instagram and Threads, Munsons at the Movies. You can email us, munsonsatthemovies@gmail.com. Any final thoughts from Chiwetel Ejiofor?
But to be human means to care for each other, and civilization means to work together to create a better life. If that's true, then there's nothing human and nothing civilized about what we're doing here.
Munsons Out.
All right, let's go. Thank you for the education, gentlemen. We've just received a PhD in stupidity. Doctor, shall we?
Sorry. Don't apologize. Dogs gotta eat, right? I'll tell you what, you wanna come in my restaurant and eat? Go ahead, eat, dog, eat! That's a good boy. Bullshit. Shut your mouth, bitch. I'll put you down there with him. Matter of fact, get your ass over here and share a meal with your man. Now.